Bring it there. Breathing normal.
स्वरं लयं शुभं शिवं वरं नवं स्वरं लयं शुभं शिवं वरं नवं भावरागताल सङ्गीतं सुखं भावरागताल सङ्गीतं सुखं काव्यकला भरित संस्कृतं भजेऽहं काव्यकला भरित संस्कृतं भजेऽहं संस्कृतं भजेऽहं संस्कृतं भजेऽहं संस्कृतं भजेऽहं संस्कृतं भजेऽहम्.
Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Seeking the blessings of all the Gurus, all the dignitaries that we have with us today, we want to start today's event, which is the first edition of Samskrta Samaaropaha. I want to start the event with a brief history of what Sanskrit language means in France. The history of Sanskrit language, Samskritam, goes back thousands of years since the language has been attested by the literature of the Vedas. Its teachings in France has existed for several centuries. The first chair of Sanskrit language and literature at the Royal College of France having been founded by the order of Louis XVIII on November the 29th, 1814. Many have been and are internationally recognized French Indianists. Even more great and valuable are their contributions to Indian studies. We are very glad to have one such great Indianist amongst our panelists today, Monsieur Pierre Silva Fioza. And his father has been a wonderful Indianist as well. So the history of Sanskrit in France goes back a long, long way. And Vasundhara Mami, Vasundhara Fioza, Madam, who was a part of our panelist, would further elaborate on the history of Sanskrit in a few moments. In short, I want to share some of the key points with respect to learning Sanskritam in Paris, in France. It's definitely, we from Carnatic Conservatory of Paris, we offer Samskritam classes, the language, spoken language learning course. More than theoretical aspects, we focus on spoken language. Apart from that, that's a very small way that we have started contributing to Sanskrit. But in short, the teaching of Sanskrit is not limited to Parisian metropolis alone. It is possible to start studying Sanskrit in 6 universities outside the mainland France, in Marseille, in Alcaud, Lille, Lyon, Strasbourg, and Toulouse. Sorbonne Nouvelle Paris 3, which is Paris 3 University, offers a full course allowing students to learn Sanskrit and then pursue Indian studies at the master and doctoral level. The École Pratique de Haute Étude, on the other hand, does not offer an initial teaching of Sanskrit, but allows Sanskritists to pursue a master's in European, Mediterranean, and Asian studies, and in Asian studies. In our closest French-speaking neighbors in Switzerland and Belgium, there are also training courses offering an initial teaching of Sanskrit and a continuation of studies at master's and doctorate level. The University of Lausanne has a bachelor's and a master's degree in South Asian languages and civilizations, in which Sanskrit courses are given over 3 years. The Catholic University of Louvain, also offers a full course in Indian studies by offering a bachelor's and a master's degree in ancient languages and literatures with an Oriental orientation. This was only to give a brief idea that Sanskrit as a language is a welcome language. It's a language which creates curiosity, which creates good academicians and an academic orientation in France and in countries in and around France. So, with that very brief uh, highlight of what Sanskrit is and what is the current day situation of Sanskrit in France, we would now like to invite uh, our Mr. Naman Upadhyay from Embassy of India in France. He is the cultural secretary as well as the secretary for press and information. Naman sir.
Yeah, thank you. And first of all, my greetings to all of you on World Sanskrit Day and organizing this event for popularizing and giving more information about Sanskrit to all of the people around France and as well as in India. The connection between, as you rightly said, Pradyum, between India and France, especially in the domain of Sanskrit, has been quite old. In fact, as you rightly pointed out, the first chair for Sanskrit was like outside India was established in France at College de France. And as Swami Vivekananda rightly said, the very sound of Sanskrit is musical, and it's an ancient and classical language of India, which is the source of many other languages. And with so many scholars of Sanskrit here, I would take a liberty of speaking few words on World Sanskrit Day with my limited knowledge. And I would like to point out that Sanskrit is quite relevant today also in the present and contemporary times, because it is a kind of a living and a breathing language. If you go into the deep science of Sanskrit, it's a science of sound, and you can, in fact, if you chant all the uh, words, etc., of Sanskrit in then you can avail the benefits of pranayama, because it is closely linked with the science of sound as well as science of breathing. Apart from that, it is quite versatile. If I'm not wrong, then I think there are more than 90 words for love in Sanskrit and more than hundreds for elephant. So you can just imagine the kind of versatility of Sanskrit language and the kind of when new and new words are coming up, Sanskrit provides you a flexibility for incorporating all those words. It's quite self-contained language, and it's quite scientific, as in fact the systematic nature of Sanskrit is so exceptional and its grammatical structure is so well defined. It was precisely laid out way back in the 5th century BC by Panini in his Ashtadhyayi, and which has hardly changed after so many years also. And so it provides a kind of a solid foundation for evolving new vocabulary, new words. And another, sometimes it is often, uh, there are some myths or misconception about Sanskrit, that it is only a language of a particular religion or a scripture or prayer, but it is not so. I would like to say that in truth, Sanskrit is the language in which almost every subject was written. And if I'm not wrong, ma'am can correct me, that there is in fact more non-religious and scientific literature in Sanskrit than the other religious texts. So if you see Ayurveda, the science of food, it was written in Sanskrit. The Rasayan Shastra, the Ganit Shastra. So if you see many of the scientific scriptures, they were written in Sanskrit. So if you see in the present and the contemporary time, the relevance of Sanskrit becomes much more important. And as we today celebrate the World Sanskrit Day, the Sanskrit Divas, I would like to take this opportunity and request you to take resolve to popularize and revive this beautiful language and ensure that it reaches out to more and more people. And what better occasion can this be than the 75th anniversary of our independence as we celebrate? We should try to organize more such events. And you are doing quite a good work as we put out the doodles of Bhagavad Gita and Amar Kosha, all these things. So your contribution towards popularizing Sanskrit is immense, but we need to ensure that this enthusiasm, we take it with us, and we continue it for the coming years. And with these words, I would like to give the stage to ma'am and sir to shed more light on this subject. And I hope you are doing well, ma'am, because last time we met, I think after that your health was slightly it was not good. But I hope you are doing well there in India as well as sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Naman sir. Now I would request Bhavana to give an official inaugural speech in Samskrit.
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. नमः सभायै. विदितमेव नः समेषां यत् संस्कृतभाषा न केवलं मानुषाणाम् अपि तु देवतानाम् अपि भाषा अस्ति. भारतीयानाम् एव न अपि तु वैदेशिकानामपि भाषा अस्ति. एवञ्च वृद्धानाम् एव केवलं न अपि तु बालानामपि भाषा अस्ति. एतादृशाः अस्याः भाषायाः सौन्दर्यं माधुर्यञ्चापि सर्वैः ज्ञातप्राय एव. भारतस्य प्रतिष्ठे द्वे संस्कृतिस्तथा संस्कृतिस्तु संस्कृताश्रिता इत्यादीनि वाक्यानि गीर्वाण्याः विषये तदा तदा श्रोत्रगोचराणि भवन्ति. यद्यपि संस्कृतम् अस्माकं हृदये सर्वदा तिष्ठति एव, तथापि तदाचरणाय किञ्चित् दिनं निर्णेतव्यम् इति निश्चिते सति श्रावणपूर्णिमा इति दिनं चितं वर्तते. अस्मिन् एव दिने आविश्वं जनाः संस्कृतदिनम् आचरन्ति. तदङ्गतया एव कर्नाटिक् कन्सर्वेटरी आफ् पेरिस् द्वारा संस्कृतसमारोपः कार्यक्रमः आयोजितः अस्ति. कार्यक्रमेऽस्मिन् उपस्थितेभ्यः मुख्यातिथिः महोदयाभ्यः श्रीमतीभ्यः महाभागाभ्यः हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि. अस्मिन् सन्दर्भे मुख्यरूपेण रसविषयेण चर्चा भवति. तत्र सुभाषितमाध्यमेन रसः इति विषयं प्रतिपादयितुं मैडम वसुन्धरा फिलियोजा, मिस्टर् पियर् सिल्वा फिलियोजा महोदय तथा महाभागाः समागताः सन्ति. तेषां वाक्कुसुमैः स्वागतं व्याहरामि. एवमेव सङ्गीतमाध्यमेन रसः इति विषये डॉक्टर मैसूर् मञ्जुनाथ् महोदयाः उपस्थिताः सन्ति. अतः तेषाम् अपि हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि. वयं रस थ्रू पर्कशन् इति विषये घटं डॉक्टर एस् कार्तिक् महोदयः भणिति. तेषामपि स्वागतं. काव्येषु रसः इति विषये अहं प्रदर्शयामि. चूडामणि नन्दगोपाल महोदयः रस थ्रू स्क्रिप्चर्स् इति विषयं प्रस्तौतिः. अतः महोदय अपि सुस्वागतं. रस थ्रू डान्स् इति विषये डॉक्टर गायत्री कण्णन् महाभागायाः व्याख्यानम् अस्ति. एवमेव अन्ये च बालकाः ये स्वप्रस्तुतिभिः अस्मान् रञ्जयन्ति. तेषाम् अपि सर्वेषां हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि. अन्ते च श्रोतृगणं विना कस्याः अपि सभायाः शोभा न भवति. अतः सर्वस्य अपि श्रोतृसमुदायस्यापि कृते अपि हार्दं स्वागतं व्यहृत्यं विरामामि धन्यवादः. Namaste. Thank you, Rohit sir, for helping me with the Swagata Bhashanam. I heartily welcome one and all. We are extremely blessed to be receiving wonderful artists today. We have Chudamani Nandagopal ma'am, who has been so instrumental in giving the our temple of Kakatiya dynasty of Ramappa temple UNESCO heritage. She's a UNESCO fellow, and she has worked extensively to gain that status for our temple. We heartily welcome you, Chodamani ma'am. And Manjunath sir is a great violinist from Bangalore, from Mysore, from Karnataka, and he's an empaneled ICCR artist, A-top artist who has extensively performed in more than 35 countries. And it's an honor to have him here blessing us today. And of course, the doyens of Sanskrit in France, Madame and Monsieur Filiosa, who are again here to bless us and support us in this endeavor. Today's topic would be rasa through different dimensions. When we speak about rasa, definitely it's like the hours that we have decided definitely doesn't make any yeah, any respect to the vast topic that it can be discussed upon. But yes, we want to, any introduction would be a very good start for our audience. So rasa through different dimensions of Indian culture. So this just shows how holistic our Indian music, Indian art is, Indian culture is. So everything involves around these emotions that we can experience. With this, I would also like to invite Rohit Sharma ji, who has a master's in Sanskrit and is a teacher and is a guru in our institution, who would be talking about greatness of Sanskrit and its richness in Sanskrit, and also introduce us to rasa. Rohit ji.
ॐ शारदा शारदां भोज वदना वदनां भुजे सर्वदा सर्वदास्माकं सन्निधिं क्रियात्. नमस्ते भाई. परमादरणीयाः सर्वेपि अत्र समागताः विद्वद्वरेण्यः, एवमेव वसुन्धरा मैडम, चूडामणि नागगोपाल मैडम, सॉरी, एवमेव कार्तिक महोदयः, अनन्तरं गायत्री महाभागाः, अनन्तरं मञ्जुनाथ महोदयः, नमन महोदयः, सर्वेषां कृतेपि प्रद्युम्नजी, भावनजी, सर्वेषामपि चरणयोः मम प्रणतिततिः समर्प्य मम किञ्चित् अत्र समयं मम कृते भवन्तः दत्तवन्तः तद्विषये किञ्चित् वदामि. मम वाक्यस्य आरम्भम् अहम् अद्यतनं किञ्चित् विशिष्टम् एकं वाक्यं यत् कृतमस्ति तेन तद्वारा करोमि. तस्मात् पूर्वम् अन्ताराष्ट्रीय संस्कृतदिनस्य सर्वेषां कृतेपि हार्दाः शुभाशयाः. एषा भाषा प्राचीना चेदपि आधुनिकी, यस्यां गहनं तत्त्वज्ञानम् अस्ति, तरुणं काव्यम् अपि अस्ति, या सरलतया अभ्यासयोग्या परं श्रेष्ठदर्शनयुक्ता च, तां संस्कृतभाषाम् अधिकाधिकजनाः पठेयुः इति काचित् उक्तिः अद्य अस्माकं प्रधानमन्त्रीवर्येण माननीयैः नरेन्द्रमोदीवर्यैः अद्य उक्तं. सर्वेषां कृतेपि भारतीयानां कृते, विदेशे च ये संस्कृतम् अधीयानाः वर्तन्ते तेषां कृते च शुभाशीषाः अस्माकं प्रधानमन्त्रीवर्यैः दत्ताः. अतः एतादृशानाम् अस्माकं भारतीयनायकानां संस्कृतप्रीतिं दृष्ट्वा अस्माकं हृदयम् अत्यन्तं मोदायत्. संस्कृतभाषायाः विषये यदि वक्तव्यम्, अत्र नमन महोदयः बहु सम्यक् उक्तवान्. सर्वविधमपि ज्ञानं संस्कृतभाषायाम् अस्ति एव. यद्यपि अहं तु अत्यन्त लघुबालः, भवन्तः सर्वेपि ज्येष्ठाः अत्र सन्ति, कतिचन तुच्छवाक्यानि अत्र वक्तुम् इच्छामि, तावदेव. भाषा नाम का इति प्रथमं यदि वयं विचारयामः तदा व्याकरणे काचित् उक्तिः व्याकरणे काचित् प्रक्रिया तद्विषये भवति। भाष्यते अनया इति भाषा। का नाम भाषा इति विचारिते सति यया भाषया व्यवहारः भवति, यत्र वयं सम्भाषणं कर्तुं शक्नुमः, सा भाषा इति उच्यते। अतः भाष्यते अनया इति भाषा। अपि च कस्याः अपि भाषायाः सामर्थ्यं, तस्याः भाषायाः महिमा, तस्याः भाषायाः च गौरवं कथम् अस्ति, कियदस्ति, संसारे तस्य ख्यातिः कियदस्ति इति यदि वयं ज्ञातुम् इच्छामः तर्हि तस्याः भाषायाः अस्माभिः अवश्यं साहित्यं द्रष्टव्यं भवति। तस्यां भाषायां कति शब्दाः सन्ति इति अस्माभिः तत्र विचारणीयं भवति। संस्कृतभाषायाः साहित्यं यदि वयं पश्यामः तर्हि न केवलम् आध्यात्मिकस्तरे, यथा नमन् महोदयः उक्तवान् एव, न केवलम् आध्यात्मिकविषये अपि तु चिकित्साविषये यदि पश्यामः तर्हि आचार्य बागभट्टस्य अष्टाङ्गहृदयं, चरकस्य आयुर्वेदशास्त्रं, पतञ्जलिमहर्षेः योगशास्त्रं, सुश्रुतमहर्षेः शल्यचिकित्सा इत्यादि ग्रन्थाः आयुर्वेदे सन्ति। सङ्गीतशास्त्राः भिन्न भिन्न सन्ति। भरतमुनेः नाट्यशास्त्रम् अस्ति। एवमेव कालिदासस्य महाकाव्यानि, नाटकानि सन्ति। अपि च अन्यानि अपि, वराहमिहिरस्य गणितशास्त्रं, खगोलविज्ञानम्, आचार्यस्य आर्यभट्टस्य अपि खगोलविज्ञानम्, आर्यभटीय इत्यादि ग्रन्थाः। एवं कणादस्य, महर्षेः कणादस्य परमाणुसिद्धान्तः, यश्च सिद्धान्तः आधुनिकैः अधुना बहुधा विचार्यते, तत्तादृशाः सर्वे अपि विषयाः गहनतया अत्यन्तसुष्ठुरीत्या अस्माकं संस्कृतभाषायां संस्कृत वैज्ञानिकैः तैः महर्षिभिः अत्यन्तसुष्ठुतया विचारिताः सन्ति इति अस्माकम् अत्यन्तं एषः विषयः गौरवस्य अस्ति एव। अपि च गौरवेण सह अस्माकम् एतेन संस्कृत अध्ययनेन, एतेन संस्कृतसाहित्य अध्ययनेन अस्माकं ज्ञानवर्धनमपि भवति, अस्माकं गौरववर्धनमपि भवति। एवमेव संस्कृतसाहित्यं वयं पश्यामः, महाभारतादिकम् अस्माकम् इतिहासग्रन्थाः अपि तत्र विद्यन्ते। महाभारतादिग्रन्थेषु नाम यदि वयं प्राचीनं पश्यामः तर्हि युद्धादिकमपि जातम्। अद्यत्वे न्यूक्लियर् पवर् इति यदि वयं पश्यामः तर्हि न्यूक्लियर् वेपन्स् इत्यादि सर्वं बहूनां देशानां पार्श्वे नास्ति। भारतस्य पार्श्वे इदानीं सद्यः सञ्जातम् अस्ति, परन्तु बहु प्रयत्नेन तदपि सम्पादितम् अस्माभिः। सर्वेपि नाम पूर्णतया अनङ्गीकारं कृतवन्तः आसन्, भारताय न्यूक्लियर् वेपन् सर्वं न भवेत्, भवन्तः परीक्षणं कर्तुं न शक्नुवन्ति, पूर्णतया अस्माकम् उपरि प्रतिबन्धं स्थापितवन्तः। तथापि भारतीयवैज्ञानिकैः तत् कृतम्। एतद्विषये एव कश्चन विषयः महाभारते द्रष्टुं शक्यते। यदा अर्जुनः अश्वत्थाम्ना सह युद्धं करोति अन्तसमये, तदा अश्वत्थामा ब्रह्मशिरनामकम् एकम् अस्त्रं त्यजति। तस्य अस्त्रस्य विषये काचित् उक्तिः शास्त्रेषु प्रसिद्धा अस्ति। सा च का उक्तिः इत्युक्ते, अस्त्रं ब्रह्मशिरो नाम इति कश्चन अस्त्रविशेषः, तत्तादृशः सः अस्त्रविशेषः यत्र तत् पतति तादृशप्रदेशे 12 वर्षपर्यन्तं 12 इयर्स् रेनिंग अपि न भवति, पर्जन्यो नाभिवर्षति, वृष्टिः अपि न भवति इति तादृशं तस्य अस्त्रस्य। इदानीं अमेरिका देशेन यदा लिटल बॉय फैट मैन इत्यादि जापान मध्ये क्षिप्तं, हिरोशिमा नागासाकी मध्ये, तस्य परिणामः अद्य पर्यन्तं वयं द्रष्टुं शक्नुमः। परन्तु तदपेक्षया 1000 टाइम्स बिगर तत् ब्रह्मशिरनामकम् अस्त्रम् आसीत्, यस्य च प्रमाणं महाभारतेषु लभ्यते। वयं महाभारतादिकग्रन्थान् पठामः, आध्यात्मिकरीत्या पठामः समीचीनं, परन्तु आध्यात्मिकतया आध्यात्मेन सह एव अस्माकं विज्ञानं तत्र निहितम् अस्ति। वेदेषु बहुविधं ज्ञानं निहितम् अस्ति। यच्च अस्माभिः अधीयमानः अस्ति, अस्माकं गौरवकरणस्य च विषयः अस्ति। एवमेव भाषायाः समृद्धिं यदि वयं द्रष्टुम् इच्छामः, भाषायां कति शब्दाः सन्ति इत्यपि कश्चन विषयः तत्र अस्माभिः द्रष्टव्यः भवति। अन्यासां विषये अहं वक्तुं न इच्छामि। संस्कृतभाषा मम भाषा, भवतां भाषा, सर्वस्यापि लोकस्य भाषा अस्ति। अतः केवलं संस्कृतभाषायाः विषये महर्षि पतञ्जलेः कश्चन महाभाष्यम् इति व्याकरणस्य ग्रन्थः अस्ति। तद्विषये एकं वाक्यमस्ति, भाषायां संस्कृतभाषायां कति शब्दाः सन्ति इति विषयः तत्र अस्ति। नाम कति शब्दाः आधुनिकाः वदन्ति संस्कृतभाषायां 1027856000000। पुनः एकवारं वदामि, 1027856000000। एतावन्तः शब्दाः संस्कृतभाषायां सन्ति इति आधुनिकाः वदन्ति। इत्युक्ते ये लैब मध्ये दृष्टवन्तः अथवा ये गणनां कृतवन्तः ते। परन्तु संस्कृतभाषायां कति शब्दाः सन्ति इति यदि वयं विचारयामः, महाभाष्यस्य प्रथमम् आह्निकं यदि वयं पश्यामः, तत्र आरम्भे एव कश्चन विषयः भवति। तत्र ते कश्चन पृच्छति, पूर्वपक्षः भवति, कतिचन शब्दाः तत्र सन्ति, उष तेर चक्र पेच इत्यादि शब्दाः सन्ति। तत्र वदन्ति एतेषां शब्दानां कोऽपि अर्थः नास्ति। देयर इज नो मीनिंग अबाउट उष तेर चक्र पेच। एते शब्दानाम् अर्थः नास्ति इति कोऽपि आक्षेपं करोति महाभाष्यस्य उपरि। महाभाष्यस्य उत्तरं किम् अस्ति तदेकवारम् अहम् अत्र पठामि। महाभाष्यकारः भगवान् पतञ्जलिः वदति, सप्तद्वीपा वसुमती त्रयः लोकाः, चत्वारः वेदाः, सांगाः, सरहस्याः, बहुधा भिन्नाः, 100 अध्वर्युशाखाः। ऋग्वेदस्य 100 शाखाः, 1000 शाखाः ऋग्वेदस्य। सहस्रवर्त्मा सामवेदः, 1000 शाखाः सामवेदस्य। इदानीम् उपलब्धाः न सन्ति, तद्भिन्नः विषयः, परन्तु 1000 सामवेदाः, 21 बाह्वृच्यं, 9 अथर्वणो वेदः। न केवलम् एतावदेव, अपि तु वाको वाक्यम्, इतिहासः, पुराणं, वैद्यकम् इत्येतावत् शब्दस्य प्रयोगविषयः, एतावदस्ति शब्दस्य प्रयोगविषयः। किम् एतावत् सर्वं भवता अधीत्य उष तेर चक्रपेच इत्यादि शब्दानाम् अर्थः नास्ति इति सर्वं भवान् पठित्वा वदन् अस्ति वा इति भाष्यकारः पृच्छति तत्र। यदि भवान् पठित्वा आगतवान् अस्ति तर्हि तत्तु भवतः सामर्थ्यम् एव। सम्भवं पठितुं न शक्यते। इतोपि एकं विषयं तत्र भवति। कः विषयः? क्षम्यताम्। बृहस्पतिः इन्द्राय दिव्यं वर्षसहस्रं शब्दपारायणं प्रोवाच। अस्माकं एकं वर्षम् इत्युक्ते 365 डेज इति भवति। देवतानाम् एकं दिनम् इत्युक्ते अस्माकं 365 इयर्स, और 365 इयर्स इज इक्वल टू 1 डे फॉर देवतास्। तादृशम् 1000 वर्षम्, इट मीन्स 1000 into 365 years. बृहस्पतिः टीच टू इंद्र दिव्य 1000 year, बट शान्तं जगाम, समाप्तिरेव नाभवत्। एतावन्तः संस्कृतभाषायां शब्दाः सन्ति। आधुनिकाः 1027850000000 इति शब्दान् वदन्ति, परन्तु एतावदस्ति शब्दराशिः संस्कृतभाषायाम्। बहवः विषयाः इतोपि विचारणीयाः संस्कृतभाषायां सन्ति। तत्र तावत् अद्यतन मुख्यविषयः अत्र यः अस्ति स च नाम कर्णाटक कन्जर्वेटिव् आफ् पेरिस् संस्थापकाः भावना प्रद्युम्न महोदयाः, अनन्तरं प्रद्युम्न महोदयः यः अस्ति तैः अत्र विशेषरूपेण यः रसविषयः अत्र उपस्थापितः अस्ति। अनन्तरं बहवः विद्वांसः अत्र अस्मज्ज्येष्ठाः सर्वेपि मम गुरवः अत्र समागताः सन्ति। ते रसविषये अपि अत्र व्याख्यानं करिष्यन्ति। यद्यपि मदपेक्षया अधिकं ते जानन्ति सर्वं, तथापि किञ्चित् अत्र उक्त्वा इदानीम् अहं विरमामि। रसविषयः नाम किम् इति चेत् विचारयामः। साहित्यविषये काचित् उक्तिः अस्ति, रसेन हितेन युक्तं साहित्यं, रसयुक्तं यद्भवति तदेव साहित्यम् इति उच्यते। अनन्तरं हितयुक्तमपि यद्भवति। एवं च काव्यस्य विषये यदा वयं पश्यामः तर्हि काव्यं नाम किम् इति चेत् रसः आत्मा काव्यस्य, ध्वनिरात्मा काव्यस्य इति वदन्ति। ध्वनिरपि त्रिविधा भवति, तत्र रसध्वनिः इति या भवति सा एव आनन्दवर्धनाचार्यैः मम्मटादिभिः सर्वैः रसत्वेन अङ्गीकृतमस्ति। तत्तादृशस्य रसविषयस्य अपि अत्र व्याख्यानं सर्वैः भवद्भिः क्रियते। अतः एतावत् सर्वम् अत्र विचार्य मम कृते समयं ये दत्तवन्तः भावनाजी, प्रद्युम्नजी, तेषां कृते धन्यवादः। अनन्तरं वसुन्धरा मैडम, चूडामणि नागोपाल मैडम जी, कार्तिक जी, नयन महोदय, अनन्तरं मंजुनाथ महोदय, सर्वेषामपि धन्यवादम् अहम् अत्र समर्पयित्वा भवतां कारणेन अहम् अत्र तुच्छमनुष्यः अत्र किञ्चित् मम वाक्यानि प्रस्तोतुम् आगतः। तदर्थं धन्यवादाः। अपि च यदि दोषाः मम भाषायां सन्ति तर्हि तान् अवश्यं भवन्तः लघुबालः, भवतां पुत्रः इति मत्वा अवश्यं निराकरिष्यन्ति इति मम मतिः। तस्मात् एतावदेव उक्त्वा अत्रैव अहं विरमामि मम वाक्यानि। धन्यवादः।
धन्यवादः रोहित जी. We would like to welcome Ghatam Dr. S. Karthik sir. Ghatam Karthik sir has joined us. Sir, thank you so much for accepting our invitation at such short notice. And
Namaste to everybody. My respects and pranams to Vasundhara ji, Manjunath ji, and all of you. And it was a very thought-provoking talk by Rohit ji. He has really set the tone for the webinar, and I'm really honored to be in the panel and listening to all of you, and I'm so happy to be part of this. Thank you. Thanks for inviting Bhavana ji and Pradyumna ji.
Namaste.
Bhavana itself is rasa. Rasa, Bhavana eva.
Sir, the theme music that you listened at the beginning.
Thank you.
That you listened at the beginning was composed by.
I'd like to. Sorry, I forgot to pay my pranams to Dr. Chudamani ji, Naman ji, and Arya and RV. Everybody, please accept my pranams. Yeah. Please go ahead, Bhavana.
The theme music that you listened at the beginning of the event was composed by Karthik sir. He's a PhD scholar and he composed this. This was in about Navarasas, and it was composed to Sankirna Nade, which is like the 9-beat cycle. So thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. Within a short span of time, his son Sarvesh Karthik gave the background music for this and recorded this. And I think every time we listen to the music, it inspires us to do more. So with the blessings of all of you, definitely we want to do more to spread the Sanskrit culture and definitely his holistically to work towards Indian culture. With this, we are also very happy to show to you a doodle video which my son 8-year-old Aniruddha Kandadai creates. So every Amarakosha, he is learning Amarakosha, which is the first ever Sanskrit thesaurus, which is the first ever thesaurus in the world, the Amarakosha, which he started creating these doodle videos, and here is one such episode. It is available on Carnatic Conservatory of Paris channel.
Namaste, I'm Aniruddha Pradyumna Kandadi. Carnatic Conservatory of Paris is happy to present you Amarakosha, the Sanskrit dictionary. Fun Fact Friday. Language with most number of words. The story goes that before Maharishi Panini invented Samskrita, the Lord Brahma asked Lord Indra to chant Akaranta conjugation every day. A is the vowel and Anta is last. So Akaranta means words ending with the sound A. Even after 1000 plus years, Indra was still chanting Akaranta conjugation. So we can imagine how many more words exist in Samskrita. Syat sudharma deva sabha piyushamamritam sudha mandakini viyadganga swarnadi suradirghika. Sudharma and Devasabha are the names of an assembly. Sabha of the gods, Devas. Meanwhile, Piyusham, Amritam and Sudha are the names for the nectar of immortalness. In the second line, Vyadganga, Mandakini, Swarnadi and Suradirghika are the names of Ganga's river in Swarga. The story of Ganga. The Ganges river was created when Vishnu, in his incarnation as the dwarf Brahmin Vamanavatara, took 2 steps to cross the universe. On the second step, Vishnu's big toe accidentally created a hole in the wall of the universe, and though it spilled some of the waters of the river Mandakini. King Bhagiratha wanted his ancestors to reach heaven by the touch of the pure Ganga river. Sage Kapila asked Bhagiratha to pray earnestly to Vishnu and perform ascetic acts for 1,000 years. The great god, gratified by Bhagiratha's penance, agreed for Ganga to descend to earth, where she might wash over the ashes of the 60,000, purify them, and permit them to ascend to heaven. There was a problem, though, that if Ganga merely dropped from heaven with her swirling waters, would do untold damage. Shiva offered to gently lower the goddess in his hair, which he did, rather cautiously, taking 1,000 years. Safely arrived on earth, Bhagiratha guided Ganga across India. Namaste, Dhanyavadaha.
Thank you. So, yeah, that was one such videos which we release every Friday. Go ahead.
I should say that most of the work on these videos are done by Aniruddha himself. And Bhavana guides him so well in fine-tuning his language as well as with some of those relevant images. But nowadays he is at a level where even the image and other stories he starts researching by himself. So it's wonderful. It's quite inspiring, and we hope this inspires. We were truly, we are, so to say, every time impressed the way he is able to conceptualize a dictionary and translate into something that is so interesting.
And these
we
videos are
never
also
thought.
in French. He releases this both in English and in French. So we are very happy to take this to new audiences across the globe with transitioning across the languages. So with this, we would like to start our
And
Rasa through Subhashita.
thanks to Rohit ji, who is training Aniruddha on Amarakosha, and we have Arya who learns Amarakosha as well. So we want more and more children to come forward and learn these wonderful life skills and wonderful, beautiful language skills.
And
Uh,
and the best part of Sanskrit language is just one word. Mandakini had so much of story to say, and that is the beauty of the language. The word is not just a word, but it has a story behind it. So that's the beauty of the words in Sanskrit. So with this, we would like to start with Rasa through Subhashita. Heartily welcome Madam Vasundhara Mami and Monsieur Pierre Silva Filiosa. Yeah, Pradyumna.
so, Mami, sir, taking your permission, I'll briefly introduce the two of them. They need less introduction, but more as a formality. Let me say a few things about them. Son of the famous Indianist Jean Filiosa, Pierre Silva Filiosa has been immersed since childhood in the atmosphere of Indian studies and particularly Sanskrit. In 1959, he obtained a diploma in Hindi from the National Institute of Oriental Languages and Civilizations. Then, in 1962, a diploma from the Practical School of Higher Studies with a thesis on Pratapuradriya de Vidyanatha under the direction of Louis Renaud. He is a member of the French School of the Far East from 1963 to 1967. Subsequently, from 1967 until today, he was director of Sanskrit Studies at the Practical School of Higher Studies, 4th section. Since 1998, he has also been an associate member of the Center for the History of Arab and Medieval Sciences and Philosophies. Professor Emeritus, he is a member of the Asian Society and honorary member of the Centro Piemontes de Studi sul Medio ed Estremo Oriente. Pardon my, I think, Spanish. He was elected member of the Académie des Inscriptions et Belles Lettres in the chair vacated by Raymond Bloch. He chaired the Academy in 2010. On March 25, 2015, in New Delhi, the President of India, Sri Pranab Mukherjee, presented him with the prize called Samskrta Vanmaye Naipunyaya Shastrecha Pandityaya Pramanapatra, letter of recognition for skill in Sanskrit letters and scholarship in science, in recognition of his work on Sanskrit language and literature. Monsieur Pierre Silva Filiosa, sir, we are so glad that you are with us. We welcome you to the event. To say a few words about Vasundhara Mami, we affectionately we call her Vasundhara Mami. People know her as Vasundhara Filiosa. So Vasundhara Filiosa has been working on the history of Karnataka since the year 1960s. She was born in Haveri in Dharwad district as the fifth child of Sanskrit and Kannada scholar Pandit Chennabasavappa Kavali. She studied history, Indian epigraphy, and French at Karnataka University, Dharwad, before she got a scholarship to study theater in France. After 2 years of studying theater, she returned to history and did her PhD from Sorbonne University in Paris. There, she studied the first two kings of Vijayanagara under Professor Jean Filiosa, the celebrated Indologist of that era. Her approach to history is simple. Read what is written at the site. She studies inscriptions and icons to dig out stories from the past. While studying Hampi, she translated more than 150 in Kannada inscriptions into French. She has worked on several temple sites in Karnataka, including Hampi, Badami, Pattadakallu, and Mukteshwara. Her books on temples in Karnataka are co-authored with her husband, Pier Silva Filiosa, son of her mentor. While Vasundhara writes on history, epigraphy, and iconography, chapters on architecture are authored by Pier Silva. Her books include Vijayanagara, Alidulida Hampe, Hampi Vijayanagar, the Temple of Vithala. She is currently working on 2 books, a book on Vijayanagara for the National Book Trust and another on Legends of Hampi for the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts. She now divides her time between Paris and Mysuru. Vasundhara Mami, Filiosa sir, we welcome you both to the event, and now we request you to elaborate on Rasa in Subhashita. Mami, you are on mute. Yeah, it was unmuted for a second, so it's again on mute. Mami, we are not able to hear you.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Mami, we can hear.
Okay. Thank you. So he is giving me the code. He wants me to speak in his place. He said only one person will speak.
Okay,
So,
okay, sure.
Sarvebhyo namo namaha. I'm very happy to be invited and to speak to you something about Sanskrit. It is said that Bhashasu Mukhya Madhura Divya Girvana Bhasha. Girvana Bharati. What is Bharati? Bharati is language. And Girvana, gods, deities. And what is the language of deities? That is Sanskrit. And how that language is Mukhya. Amongst all the languages, it's Mukhya, it's important. It's very important. And Mukhya, Madhura is beautiful, it's lovely to hear, it's very sweet. And Divya, divine. So today we are going to speak and celebrate the year of the Samskrta Divasa, the day for Samskrta. This Madhura Bhasha, Divya Bhasha, and Girvana Bhasha. It is Girvana Bhasha, it is God's language. And before speaking about rasa, rasa is very important in our literature. Without rasa, there is no bhava. There's no bhava without rasa. You can express your bhava, and that creates rasa amongst the people. And just before that, I'll speak to you something about how Sanskrit entered in Europe. We said that in India we know that only British have popularized it, but it's not the British. It was in the already in the 17th, 18th centuries. France had an idea that there is some literature in India called Veda, and there is already about the creation of the world and all these things. And yet, it struck much to Voltaire, because he was a notorious man. He was a revolutionary, and he wanted to oppose the religious institutions. And to in the churches, these the religious the heads, they were saying, "Oh, everything is in Bible," and he wanted to prove them that there is something called Veda in India, and that there is already about the creation of the world and all that, and Veda is much ancient than our Bible. That's what he wanted. So people started getting interested to know about whether it exists or not. So in France, they started investigating. And in the 18th century, there was a very scholar, he was a phenomenon. He heard about this Veda, and also at the same time, Zendavesta, the text of Parsis. So he wondered, and he said, all these texts are in India. So he wanted to come to India. His name is Anquetil de Perron. He wanted to come to India, and he tried to get some funds from the government. And as usual, you know, when the scholars want to do something, they don't get easily the funds. So this man, he went and registered his name in the army, in the French army, to go to India. And when some higher authorities in the academy came to know that this man is doing something foolish, so they gave him some funds, and Anquetil de Perron came to India, and he started searching for the manuscripts. First, he came to Pondicherry, and then from Chandranagar, all the French colonies, he went there. And he learned Sanskrit, and he went to Bombay, where he met Parsis, and he learned Zendavesta. He saw Zendavesta and what is there, and he took that manuscript. And also he went to Surat, and he came across, he was a scholar in Persian Arab languages. So he came across the Darashuko's translations of Upanishad, and he took those translations into Persian languages. He took it, and he wanted to translate them into French. And he said, French doesn't suit for the translation of Sanskrit texts. So he translated those Persian Sanskrit, translation of Sanskrit text into Persian. He translated that Persian text into Latin. He said Latin suits better to translate this Sanskrit text. So like this, there was some interest for Sanskrit language. It was not in England. We think it was in England, but in France is the first country to get interested in. And at the same time, there were Jesuit priests who were coming to India to propagate that religion, but they were much impressed by Indian culture. And some of them, they came in direct contact with the Brahmins, and they started dressing up like Brahmins, and they learned, they started learning Sanskrit. And amongst them, very famous are Father Pons. He learned Sanskrit, and he wrote Sanskrit grammar in Latin. And that manuscript is lying in the National Library in Paris. And now it is published by Professor Pierre Silva Filiosa. It is published by the French Academy. And also there was Father Boucher, Cordoue, and many were interested, and they were. And Anquetil de Perron, he said, not only you study Sanskrit there, but bring manuscripts to France. So they were getting our Indian manuscripts. Some of them were purchasing because people were selling them, and some of them were getting copied and bring them, and they were deposited in the King's. That time it was called King's Library, but now it is called National Library. So they got deposited there. And so gradually the interest continued to exist in France. And in the beginning of the 19th century, that is about 1810 or so, he's controlling me, 1810 or 10 or so, in the Collège de France. Collège de France is a very important and highest institute in France. The moment we say college, we think that it is like a college here. It's not like that. That is the highest institute. And the professors who become, the persons who become professors there, their words carry a lot of weight in the academic line. So there was one, Professor Sylvestre de Sacy. He was a scholar of Persian language, and he had the idea that this Sanskrit and Chinese should be introduced in France. And with this regard, he must have talked to others also. And it was the time of Napoleon. So Napoleon was a very good encourager of academies, studies. So he said, we must have Sanskrit and Chinese in the Collège de France. But unfortunately, because of political upheavals, he lost his power and he was imprisoned and all that. You know the French history. So Louis XVIII came to the power. He was mounted on the throne and he became the king of France. But Sylvestre de Sacy, he being a royalist, he went and pleaded for this introduction of these two languages, Sanskrit and Chinese. So Louis XVIII accepted. So by about 1814, the decree was signed. And in 1815, the Sanskrit, the first Sanskrit lesson was given in the Collège de France by Antoine de Chézy. Antoine de Chézy, Professor Antoine de Chézy, also a phenomenon. He was also Arab, Persian and Arab scholar, but he had the power to learn languages. So he was an autodidact. So he learned Sanskrit by himself, and he was in the library. He was working as a librarian in the National Library with these manuscripts. So he learned Bengali script, and there was a manuscript on Shakuntala drama. It was in Bengali script. He transliterated that script into first in Bengali script and then into Roman characters, and he translated that script, that text into Sanskrit. And he says he didn't use the translation of William Jones because there are more than 50 errors in that text. Here in India, we say, oh, William Jones' translation, and we adore his translation. But in France, he didn't accept it. He doesn't respect it. He said, I learned by myself alone, and he's not translated it. And his translation is very good, very nice. And we feel that he's close to Kalidasa. His sentiments, his ideas are very close. Our translation is very close to Kalidasa's ideas. It's very beautiful. He has done it in a beautiful French of the 19th century. So, and in 2015, when we celebrated bicentenary of introduction of Sanskrit chair in France, we enacted that the Kalidas, the translation of Shakuntala, translated by Chézy in Sanskrit and in French. So that is how the French Sanskrit was introduced in Collège de France, and then it continued. And Chézy's student was Bourneuf, Eugène Bourneuf, and he translated this Bhagavata Purana and Saddharma Pundarika, the Buddha, and many other texts. And like this, because it continues. Then Sylvain Lévy, Louis Renaud, and Jean Filiosa, it continued till that. Unfortunately, now the last professor, he saw that no Sanskrit professor will be appointed in the Collège de France. Unfortunately, it stopped. I hope it will start soon. Some other professor will be appointed, and it will. So this is how Sanskrit came to France. And then the Germans and the British woke up and they started teaching Sanskrit in their countries also. And in of late, there is one school in London, and high school, and that one of the teachers, he went to Kanchipuram, and Paramacharya in Kanchipuram, he told him that if you want your students, your British children to be good citizens of Britain, try to teach them Sanskrit right from their childhood. So in one school in London, so Sanskrit is introduced and they teach Sanskrit. But that's the only school in London, in Europe where Sanskrit is taught. And of course, in France, the Sanskrit is taught in universities, many universities, as you are told. You are given the list of those universities, so I'm not going into details. Now it is taught, but unfortunately, British popularized the idea that Sanskrit is a dead language. It's not, a language never dies. As it is said, Pinde Pinde Matir Birna Kunde Kunde Navam Payaha Jatau Jatau Navachara Navavani Mukhe Mukhe. So Pinde Pinde Matir Birna, you have different ideas in your heads. And the achara that changes, but it doesn't mean that language dies. Language never dies. It continues to grow. And unfortunately, British popularized this idea that Sanskrit is a dead language. And now, not only in Europe, unfortunately, in India also, people are repeating it. And my father, who was a Sanskrit scholar, he used to say that if the person who says that Sanskrit is a dead language, that shows that he is the most idiot person in the society. So to show that his idiocy, he says Sanskrit is a dead language. So please don't say Sanskrit is a dead language. Otherwise, you will be branded like that. Okay, so this is how Sanskrit is the base for our culture, and the whole of Indian culture is based on Sanskrit. So you cannot do with English, you can survive anywhere in the world, but without culture, you are not a human being. So to have good civilian, you should have a good idea about Sanskrit. Please continue to learn Sanskrit. So now I come to this Subhashita. It is said that in France, another general idea is that Sanskrit is very difficult. It's a hard nut, and you cannot crack it so easily. But those who say Sanskrit is a hard nut, they are nuts. I don't accept it, because Sanskrit can be made easy. Sanskrit can be made easy. Sanskrit can be taught in a pleasant manner. And the most pleasant thing is in our literature, Subhashita. They are so easy and so beautiful. Just now I said, Pinde Pinde Matir, we're not so easy. How easily you can understand all that. So, and I just, I think it already have taken some time. So I'll just give you one or two examples of Subhashita. Because if I start telling about the rasa in Subhashitas, I think instead of looking at your watch, you have to see the calendars, and it's not ephemeris. So I'll just finish it in a few minutes. And for example, in the Subhashitas, there is a lot of humor and philosophy and everything is there. I'll give you a few examples of. For example, in the Sanskrit grammar books, for the fourth case, that Vibhakti you speak, Prathama, Dvitiya, Tritiya, Chaturthe, Panchami, Shashti, Saptami, these Vibhaktis. And from Panini's time to the Louis Renou and Pierre Filiosa, you get the same ideas, same examples. So I said, no, I did this small Vyakarana for teaching Sanskrit to beginners in France. It is in French, and to beginners in French. So I gave some Subhashitas for the cases, the Vibhaktis. For example, in the case of Panchami Vibhakti, I'll just give you one example. Yes, in the Panchami Vibhakti, that is apadana, that is separation, you see. So, comparison also is there. Some of the Sanskrit professor is there. I'm not going to speak much about the Vyakarana because my father was a grammarian and my husband is a grammarian and I'm very weak in grammar. So, Udaradvaya Bharana Bhayat, the Bhayat, Ardhanga Atidaraha, यदि नैवं तस्य सुतः कथमद्यपि कुमारः. This is about Shiva. Udaradvaya Bharanat. To the fear of filling up 2 stomachs. Why Shiva became Ardhanari? If it is not there, well, then why his sons are bachelors? So you have so much idea behind it. That gives you the idea that Shiva is Ardhanarishwara. And the poet, he mocks at Shiva, he laughs at Shiva because he became Ardhanari because he had the fear to fill up 2 stomachs. So by becoming one, he has only 1 stomach to fill up. And in Karnataka, the 2 sons of Shiva, Ganesha and Kumara, both are bachelors. If you go to Tamil Nadu, they are married, they have children, and that's a different case. But in Karnataka, so the poet was from Karnataka, so they are bachelors. Why this? So like this, Udaradvaya Bharana, there you have a Panchami Vibhakti, comparison, and the separation. So like this, you can give example of Subhashita and also the story about it. And also if you visit temples frequently, then you see these images and you now for Shiva Ardhanari, and you can show that photo of Shiva Ardhanari. And similarly, there is another thing. Je ne vois pas bien clair ici. In Chaturthi Vibhakti. Yes, in Chaturthi Vibhakti, that is Vesham na Vishwaset. Vishwaset Prajno, Vesho the Doshaya Jayate. Ravano Bhiksha Rupena Jahara Janakatmajam. And so you should not believe in Vesha, the costumes, dresses, because that might take you to some mistakes, some errors. You see, Ravana, he came in the guise of a saint, mendicant, and he kidnapped Sita. So yeah, that is how you can explain the different cases in that small Subhashita, and also you can tell the story to the children or the students that about the Ramayana story, and so you should not believe in a person's dress. This is and in French also there is l'habit ne fait pas moine. The costume doesn't make him a saint. Yeah. So it's the same thing. So if you give them some comparative the examples of the Sanskrit and also in French language, so they will be able to grasp it easily. So instead of going, and also there's humor in this. So rasa, hasya rasa. It's most of the Subhashita are full of hasya rasa. So this is how hasya rasa dominates in this one. And another example I can give you is the sorry. Atidanat Balir Balirbadho heti timanat suyodhanaha vinishto ravano lolyadati sarvatra varjate. Varjayeta. Because you should not go to the extremes. This is what it is said in this shloka. He says that Bali, he did too much of donations, too much of giving, and as a result, he himself was tied up at the end. And similarly, Duryodhana went to such an extent in his jealousy, he lost everything. He lost his kingdom and everyone in them. And similarly, Ravana, he was so greedy about the woman and all that, so he lost. So like this, there is a moral lesson, and of course there is, and also this is something, Karuna Rasa also is there, because you feel pity on those people. You know. And there is another shloka here. Asare khalu samsare saram shvashara mandiram karo himalaye shete harihi shete mahodadhau. This in this uninteresting world, the only interesting place is the father-in-law's house, because in father-in-law's house in India, the sons-in-law treated very well, very beautifully. That is why. Otherwise, why Shiva is always in the Himalaya, and why Vishnu is always on the lying on the
Ocean.
the snake in the ocean. So there, again, you can teach them our Indian culture there. You can tell them that Himalaya, Parvati is the daughter of Himalaya, and Shiva had married her, and that is why Shiva always likes to go to Himalaya and to be in his father-in-law's house to be well treated. And similarly, Lakshmi is the daughter of the ocean, and so the Vishnu is lying on the Shesha, and because it is his father-in-law's place. So like this, you can make it humorous, and at the same time, you can give them some Vyakarana. Otherwise, if you go on teaching Vyakarana, Sanskrit through Vyakarana and Vyakarana and Vyakarana, in the universities, what happens? On the first day, there are 50 students who registered their name for learning Sanskrit, and when they go to Vyakarana and Vyakarana and Vyakarana all the time, at the end of the year, there are hardly 3-4 students. So in the academic line, because they cannot change it, because they have to go through Vyakarana. And we, the NGOs, we can do it privately. So we can make it Sanskrit more interesting and more humorous, and we can teach them rasa, theater, and have iconography, epigraphy. We can teach them as what all we want to tell them. And in this grammar, many people, they said, there are so many things in this, very little of grammar, and there are many things about this in the grammar. And I'm very thankful to you for inviting me to say a few words. I'm sorry I couldn't speak about, I gave you the idea about the rasa, navarasa, but I didn't speak about the navarasa because
Definitely, Mami, your experience shows how good a teacher should be, because only a teacher can make us a subject interested. And once you introduce the rasa of hasya through a subject, I think this was a wonderful start for the Sanskrit Samskrta Samaaropaha. We are starting with the hasya rasa and continue to see more rasas. Definitely, I think as the best as a teacher, like it is very important to make the students get interested in the subject rather than enforcing them to learn something. So I think what your perspective of teaching Sanskrit is definitely very very engaging.
Unique and engaging.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So Naman sir
it is said, if you learn Mahabhashya, you can become a king. And if you don't learn Mahabhashya, you can become your teacher of yoga and others. Mahabhashya, Pathaniyam, Maharajam. But if you know Mahabhashya, you can teach, you can become a teacher, Mahabhashya, and otherwise you can become a king and do many good things to them.
Good.
Because
Wonderful.
Vyakarana is not the only thing.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
There are many ways to
Of course,
learn a subject.
We need
Yes.
Vyakarana, but it is not the only thing.
Only thing.
We
Yes.
have so many other subjects also, and music and dance, and if you start learning music, you will forget everything. Thank you. Thank you for it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Before I forget what I have to say,
Yes.
I said it.
Thank you. Naman
Thank you,
sir,
Ami.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Naman sir, thank you so much for supporting us. Indian Embassy in France has been very, very supportive and encouraging of all our events that we organize through Carnatic Conservatory of Paris. And Naman sir has been so instrumental, and he's just one message away for us now. So that is the support that he's giving us every day, every week through when he's sharing our Bhagavad Gita doodle videos or Amarakosha or all our Geet and Nritya videos, all our Geet and Nritya episodes. Embassy and the Ministry of Culture is supporting us in all our projects and encouraging us. Thank you so much, sir. Naman sir, for being part of
Thank
this.
you, Naman
And,
sir.
yeah.
Just
Thank you.
Dhanyavadaha.
Bhavana,
I
let me take this occasion to convey one message to Namanji.
for supporting.
Namanji, namaste. This is Mysore Manjunath, and I know about you through Bhavana and Pradyumna and many of my other friends living in Paris. I also know you go out of the way to help and joining hands with Carnatic Conservatory and many other cultural organizations in spreading the glory of Indian culture, Indian heritage, Indian performing arts, Sanskrit and yoga, and then so on. And it gives me immense pleasure. I'm extremely delighted, and we, the music community, music and dance performing community sitting in India, we send you our very sincere, very respectful pranams to you. Please continue helping the spreading the glory of Indian culture in a wonderful manner. And thank you so much for joining hands with Carnatic Conservatory. My sincere compliments.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam was Madam
Yes,
Filuza was
we're trying to unmute. It was on.
yeah.
Ramu.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say a word. I wanted to thank, I forgot to thank Mr. Naman. He supports us a lot for Samskrta Divas also. Every year we perform. For the last 9 years, we have been doing it.
Yes.
Unfortunately, these 2 years we could do it. Hopefully, we'll do it. We'll be able to do it in 2021. And it's a good support. And I hope we'll continue to get the support of Indian Embassy.
Yes.
Always about Sanskrit, and so that we can do something. And for this Samskrta Divasa in France, we get more than 100 persons as audience, and we give 5 hours program, and all of them they sit till the end of the program. That is wonderful. We have good support for Sanskrit in France, and hope it will continue. It will start in India also, the same thing, and people will start learning Sanskrit instead of saying it is a dead language, and people will become priests or Jyotishi. We can become more scholars than learning English. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Thank you all the esteemed panelists and eminent panelists for this enriching discussion and enlightening me about the so many different facets of rasa and all this in an interesting and enriching discussion. And thank you very much. I have some engagements, so I need to go there. But I would take your leave now. And once again, thank you all, and thanks Carnatic Conservatory of Paris for organizing this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Namaste.
Thank you, sir.
Dhanyawada.
Dhanyavadaha, Namanji.
Dhanyawadaha.
To continue our program with Rasa through music, I would like to take the blessings of Dr. Mysore Manjunath sir. I heartily welcome you to speak a few words about Rasa through music. Of course, as I mentioned in the beginning of the program, every topic that we have can be spoken for many days, many months. But yes, but we want to introduce the beauty of rasa through different ideas. So that is why we have all the support of great people from around the world, and definitely the legendary in every field that we have chosen today. Dr. Manjunath sir, to introduce you. Dr. Manjunath, one of the most visible cultural ambassadors of India, continues to preserve and spread the rich cultural heritage of Indian classical music in all its glory. From child prodigy to trailblazers, captivating audiences and critics, Dr. Manjunath has created unrivaled record as star performer in prestigious organizations world over. From Royal Albert Hall to Sydney Opera House, from Common Thread Music Festival in USA to Federation Square in Melbourne, from World Music Festival in Chicago to Esplanade Theatre in Singapore to Santa Fe Festival in New Mexico, Manjunath has enthralled audiences all over the world. The Los Angeles Times warmly noted that Dr. Manjunath crossed over so many boundaries to create music wonder. Dr. Mysore Manjunath is one of the youngest musicians to be awarded a top ranking. Excelling academically also, he holds a Master's of Music degree. He holds a Master of Music degree, securing first rank and 4 gold medals and a PhD in violin from the University of Mysore. Currently, he is on the faculty at the Department of Music, University of Mysore, engaged in research activities. He has the credit of being the first ever Indian violinist to be invited to perform at the prestigious International Violin Conference held in San Diego and is a regular performer for many years. Dr. Manjunath has repeatedly enthralled audiences in countless reputed organizations in world over, including USA, Canada, UK, France, Germany, Austria, Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Belgium, Netherlands. I can name some 35 countries, and I definitely get to travel the world and definitely improve my geography with this. Indeed, we are blessed to receive him today as part of Samskrta Samaaropaha. Sir, request you to enlighten us with rasa through music. Namaste.
Thank you so much, my dear Bhavana, and wonderful to see you, Pradyumna, and my dear friend Karthik ji. You know, Karthik has been my wonderful music companion. We have traveled together all across Europe and many other countries, and such a great feeling, seeing him. And my namaskaram to Karthik and Chodamani ji, such a senior scholar.
Namaste, Manju garu. Namaste, namaste.
Namaskara, Karthik ji, and Chudamani madam.
It's an honor to be. It's an honor to not only share the stage, also share the screen.
No. Today, I have to say this because you are, along with the music, you are also Sanskrit scholar. Whereas my knowledge in Sanskrit is extremely limited, and since it is a topic which is related to music, and with so much of more than my knowledge about this topic, what really did work here is special affection Bhavana and Pradyumna have on me that actually brought me here. And anyway, it's my honor sharing this platform with you and Rohit ji. I wish I could speak even a little bit of Sanskrit the way you spoke. Maybe during my next Janma, I'm able to do that. And Chodamani ji, such an amazing scholar. And Vasundhara ji, I have not seen her personally, but seeking your blessings, ma'am, and all my wonderful friends there. Before I begin, Bhavana, I just wanted to take this opportunity to convey my sincere compliments to you and Pradyumna, because I have repeatedly made these statements many times. I know how difficult it is to, sit in a totally different country, in an alien nation, and then taking all the pains and doing such an amazing, wonderful job like you are doing through Carnatic Conservatory.
Sir,
Whether
thank
it is whether it is a yoga or Sanskrit or music or dance or our culture, anything, some of the richest, the most precious gems of our country, you have passion for, both yourself and then Pradyumna.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Commendable thing. And
Dhanyawad.
my utmost, the compliments and then love to both of you.
Thank you.
Doing it.
Thank you, Anna. I fondly, affectionately call him Anna. Thank you, Anna, so much. And I should also say this, that he has given me the foreword for the first ever French Carnatic music book. It's called Approach to Music the Indian Way, wherein there is a comparative study of Indian music and Western music, not comparing each other, but how an Indian musician's perspective to Western music and a Western musician can have a perspective of Indian musician. So that is how we complement each other. It's not about comparison, but complementing each other. And for this, Manjunath Anna gave me the foreword for the first ever book that was released, and it has become a part of the conservatory here, wherein we have introduced Indian music in the French conservatory. Now it has become a 9-year course, wherein at the end of 9 year, it would be a part of, the students would be awarded a diploma. So eventually the plans are to get it to École Supérieure, wherein the students would get an opportunity to learn our Indian music, veena, and dance. Konakol dance, we have started with Odissi. We are planning to introduce more, definitely. We have taken the first step, which is the very first time in the entire Europe, completely sponsored by the Ministry of Culture, France. And it's now a part of Bobigny Conservatory, wherein kids, anybody from age 8 to 120, like French has a lifespan of more than 120 years. So anybody can learn music now and just go enroll in conservatory and learn. So that is all you have to do. And I thank you so much, Anna, for giving me that foreword. I think it blessed me a lot. And I should also mention that the second part, Gatam Kartik Anna has given me the foreword for that. So I am so blessed. I take this opportunity to thank you both for supporting me, encouraging me in every step that I take. Thank you again. Anna, please continue with...
Really, really, really proud of you, Bhavna and Pradyumna. And unfortunately, some of the bigger organizations and institutions back in India itself, the work what you are doing, they themselves are not being able to do sitting here in India. Whereas you have taken it to the different level. All the best to you. Continue doing it and give little more headache to Karthik. He's ready to do anything because he's in different places. He's a multifaceted personality. He's a composer, he's a musician, he's a wonderful, brilliant percussionist, Sanskrit scholar, and maybe painter. I don't know what not. And every single Gatam stroke that he produces, right, has a beautiful melody in it, right? And I'm pretty sure he's going to rock today because I know his PhD is in Sanskrit itself. So, and for the first time, I'm really I'm feeling little nervous because this is one subject which I have very extremely limited knowledge about, but still, only because of the exceptional affection and love I have for both you and then Pradyumna, and great respect I have for the Sanskrit Day. I thought it is my sincere duty to present.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much. That just shows how humble you are. Given the virtue so that you are, I'm sure we get a lot to learn. Definitely look forward to it, Anna.
My pleasure. And I will make it very brief. So just like Vasundhara madam said, don't look at calendar, don't even look at the minute or the clock needle. Just look at the second needle, right? This needle that works on second needle. And anyway, just to begin an introductory note, I'm pretty sure everyone who are going to speak later, each one of them is going to much elaboratively do a fantastic job. Rasa is something extremely unique and extremely special to all of us. And before I go to music, just one more thing about Sanskrit. And I was feeling very sad when I heard the Chudamani Madam mentioning about some apaswaras, which say that Sanskrit is a dead language, right? We all know that Sanskrit is going to live eternally until the mother country Bharata is going to live, and even though billions of us who are not able to speak Sanskrit, right? Sanskrit has always occupied our hearts. If you ask the handful, maybe the top 5 most precious contributions of our country, definitely Sanskrit is going to be one among them. And that is the level in which Sanskrit has always been held with the utmost esteem and affection and love. And now the rasa theory, I should say, that is probably the product of Sanskrit intellectual culture in India. Like many such terms, rasa has both a specific and more multiple significations. And especially rasa is so important to all performing musicians, especially more so for music and dancers. In Indian aesthetics, rasa literally means, the literal meaning of rasa is juice or essence or taste. You can go on like this. It connotes a concept in Indian arts about the aesthetic flavor of any musical work that evokes an emotion in the audience. And it may be very difficult for every audience, every listener to describe it. But just because you are not able to describe certain things, you cannot say you have not experienced it. And rasa is such an abstract form, such a highly subtle, minute emotion that happens somewhere here in our heart, and naturally it is very difficult to explain this. And in my terminology, anything that is extremely difficult or probably impossible to explain must be something which is extremely beautiful and important in our lives. Certain things, you don't need to explain every single thing. You can explain, the color of my shirt. You can call it white. This is black. This is black. This is this, that kind of. Now it is 4 o'clock, 4:30. You live in Paris or you live in India. And then so many, you have a billions and trillions of information every single moment. Even your mobile can do that. But if I take you and then make you stand before a beautiful ocean or a Himalayas and ask you to, in Bhavana, can you explain? Can you tell me how you are feeling? What would you say, Bhavana? Is it possible for any human being? Is it possible for any language, whether it is Kannada, English, or whatever you think? Is it possible for any language to explain the wonderful experience, wonderful feeling that you get out of, seeing something exceptionally beautiful? That is where music and the bhava, the emotion comes into our rescue. Something which is very difficult to explain in any language. There comes music. Music starts from there. One single line, one single melody, maybe music cannot tell you that, now just sing a raga. You sing one phrase in Begade, and then I understand that, I live in Mysore. How is it possible? Music, a pure music line without the help of any literature, any lyric, cannot communicate not even a single most easiest statement like my name is Manjunath and then now it is 4 o'clock, 4:30, and then tomorrow I'm going to Bangalore. No, it cannot express, it cannot communicate. But you have many other things to communicate that will take care of all these daily things. And you have exceptionally beautiful things like music and other performing arts that are there to take care of some of the most inexplicable thing in the world. The joy, the love, the devotion, the feeling that you get out of looking at your mother, the mother nature, some of the most beautiful things in the world, you can express the feeling through music. And ultimately music doesn't get confined to any regional thing. That's the predominantly the major reasons why music and dance are considered the language of human beings, the universal languages. Probably, music and dance are supposed to be one of the greatest, one of the most beautiful things that has happened to mankind. And now the rasa and music, the connection between the rasa and the music, as I told you, every single very, very important Sanskrit ancient text talked about music, talked about rasa, talked about navarasa, the combination of rasas and creation of raga, how we enjoy raga, how raga is created, how what we feel when I take my violin and then close my eyes and then think of a raga, what exactly happens in my mindset. Ultimately, all these things are interconnected, and then that is the main reason why the Rasa Siddhanta, the Rasa theory, as beautifully stated, as beautifully articulated in some of the most important Sanskrit texts, are extremely relevant to me as a performing artist. Now, moving on, I don't really want to tell much because, Chudamaniji, is there and she is going to elaborate much on the Navarasa Siddhanta and then all those things. What all I can say that this Navarasa, starting from the Veda text, Rig Veda, Atharva Veda, and Brahmana, and Upanishad, starting from there, covering some of the most important art-related ancient Sanskrit texts like Bharata's Natya Shastra and Abhinava Gupta and Sarangadeva, their priceless texts. Every single one of them talked about rasa. Now, the Navarasa Siddhanta. How Navarasa? We all know that Shringara, Hasya, Raudra, Karuna, Bibhatsa, Bhayanaka, Veera, Adbhuta, and then finally the ninth rasa that was included later on is Shanta rasa, because ultimately ultimately at the end of the day, no matter whatever rasa you deal with through your music composition or whatever, we all aspire to get the Shanta, the peaceful nature in the end. So that is predominantly the reason why they had to include the one more ninth rasa and then made it Navarasa. And I don't have to really elaborate on all these things because, other scholars are going to talk about that. Let me briefly and with the super fast motion, let me come to the Navarasa and then Carnatic ragas. And as I repeatedly been telling, my perspective on this topic has been extremely limited to only a practical musician's knowledge. As a performing musician, how I feel, how I see each and every raga invoking different rasas. Is it really possible that the Carnatic ragas, without the help of the literature lyrics, is it possible for our pure ragas to evoke all 9 rasas or not? or what are the very important rasas, that we practical musicians think, our Carnatic ragas are capable of evoking. Again, I'm telling one more time that we are talking about the purest form of music, only the music, the pure music, without any literature. I'm not talking about any sahitya, only music. So now, let me take one. I'm going to do a little demonstration thing, so that it will be slightly different. Beautiful raga Kalyan. Kalyani is said to be a raga, a beautiful raga, one of the most ancient ragas in Carnatic classical music, that has a predominantal Sringara rasa. Madani, Madani, Ka, Madani, Pa, Gari, Sabaga, Madani, Ni, Amadani, Dani, Pa, Pamadani, Dini, Ma, Sani, Ma, Ni, Ma, Pamadi, Gari, it's a beautiful raga, and is it possible for a listener, just by listening to this raga, without any explanation from me or any other, just listen to pure raga Kalyani rendition, and then pinpointing that, oh, this is Sringara rasa? That is a very tricky thing. That's a very, very tricky thing. May not be possible. May not be possible. But definitely, you may not pinpoint that this is Sringara rasa, this is this rasa, but you will be somewhere close to that circle. You will definitely not say that this is a very patho shoka rasa. No. It's something very brave, very, very happy, maybe something very, what should I say, lively. That is why it is Sringara rasa. Similarly, for Sringara, you have many other ragas like our Kamaj. This is one of the most important Sringara Rasa Raga Pradhana. Come on, so that is the reason why we have so many padas and javalis composed in kamas. Now we will go to some other raga. You will know. See the beauty of raga. Shubhapantvarali, one of the most beautiful ragas in Indian classical. Such an exceptional pathos. If you go much deep into this raga and then sing it, you start crying yourself. You will definitely make thousands of people cry. I don't need to tell one more time, this is the Shoka Rasa Pradhana Raga. The Karuna Rasa, the sorrow, the anguish. The beauty is, the other scholars, I request you to throw much more light upon this. Probably it is only in arts and literature where you can make people cry, and then they say, it is an exceptional feeling for them. They will be very happy crying. They will be very happy feeling the sorrowness, reading that literature. This can happen only in literature and then performing arts, music and dance. What is so special about all these things? I don't know. Please throw light upon this. The beauty of crying, if somebody really wants to experience Pradumya, invite them to music. Hours together, raga, for many, many musicians, many experienced veteran musicians I have personally known, making this statement, very interesting statement. What they say is, out of all the ragas, all the rasas, it is the Shoka Rasa. When it is invoked, and when it is evoked through a beautiful raga, they are extremely satisfied. They are most satisfied. I don't know. The beauty of music is this. Similarly, the any raga, I can think of Charukeshi. Many times, I don't know, it's very difficult to pinpoint the direction of the rasa when we are so much involved in a raga. Sometimes, it oscillates. That's probably that is the reason why they talk about sthai bhava and then sanchari bhava. You don't have one single rasa, one single bhava all the time, eternally persisting throughout the rasa, throughout the raga elaboration. It wanders around certain bhava, and it's a very, very detailed subject. And so definitely sorrow, music is one of the most powerful tools, the ragas, to evoke the karuna rasa, the shoka bhava, and shringara rasa, and shanta rasa. Absolutely yes. Ultimately, no matter whatever rasa, whatever raga you talk about, whether you go to shringara bhava or karuna bhava or vira or whatever, ultimately you are expected to come and then settle down and then conclude the raga with the shanta bhava. Probably that is the reason, maybe that could be the reason why we conclude raga with shadja. No matter whatever you, for example, Kambodi. na 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 la ra na na the exceptional, amazing pleasure as a performing artist I get when I conclude a raga in Shadja is something super special. If I conclude the raga in any other note other than Shadja, I never get this bhava. And probably, I request Karthik ji also to throw much more light upon this one later in his talk. So finally, one very interesting thing I would like to draw all your attention to. Now, we will go to some other, rasas like Hasya rasa, Raudra, Bibhatsa rasa. Is it really possible for a Carnatic or Indian raga to evoke these rasas? Let us take an example. For Hasya, it says, Hamsadvani in some texts, some Indian ancient texts, they have mentioned raga Hamsadvani evokes Hasya rasa. Even Kambodhi also evokes Hasya rasa. Let me see. The rasa is something, that without the use of any sahitya, I should be totally involved in a raga. I should be singing that raga. And as a listener, as a serious listener, you should be getting the sense of that rasa, that bhava, that shade of emotion. Let us try this out. And let me sing Hamsadvani, and which is said to be a raga that evokes Hasya rasa. So now I will be seriously singing Hamsadvani. You will all be laughing. Is it possible? Let us try. I sang Hamsadvani. I have played Hamsadvani in more than 5,000 times. I never witnessed anybody laughing while I played this Hamsadvani. This brings to me to a very crucial question. What happens to the Rasa Siddhanta here? While singing or playing Hamsadvani or Kambodhi or Kedara, as these ragas are the set of ragas that are said to be evoking the rasa of Hasya, is it possible for the ragas that evoke Hasya rasa? Let me try different raga and different rasa. For example, Bibhatsa, Raudra rasa. Bibhatsa, Raudra, Varali is said to be, that belong to this combination, this group of raga. I totally agree. This is a very serious raga. Extremely serious raga. So is Arbi. Arbi also, belongs to the group of raga that evokes Raudra. But of course, it's very, very serious raga. You don't really feel like dancing while listening to this raga. You really don't feel like, liveliness, the brightness, and the calm, the joy, the, whatever, the courage, those feelings are definitely missing here. At the same time, is it really possible for me to say that the anguish, the disgust that are the hallmark of these rasas exist here? Do people laugh when I'm singing Raga Kamboji? Is it possible? May not be possible. May not be possible. But when it comes with the Sahitya, that could be totally different thing altogether.
Yes.
Maybe how I perceive the Rasa Siddhanta and the way they have combined all the ragas in here is, it's just a kind of suggestive ragas that if you compose a composition with the Sahitya, these are the set of ragas that could be more suitable kind of. And anyway, finally, the Shanta Rasa, the any Hindola or Sama, whatever ragas you can think of, ultimately, that's the fundamental expectation from music, is ultimately put a listener into a beautiful state, state of bliss. And this is a kind of very short practical demonstration of rasas. And ultimately, the happiness derived from the experience of rasa through music in Indian context is definitely not materialistic one. It is much more than that. It is a transcendental, soul stirring, and it should create inner happiness. That is the predominant reason behind this Rasa Siddhanta. Anyway, let me conclude with that note, and I request all the senior scholars who are coming next to throw much more light upon that. As you all said, even we require much longer debate, much longer seminar kind of scenario. Maybe this is just a beginning, an initiative, and thank you so much. And I simply shared my limited experience with you. My pleasure. Hope to see you sometime very, very soon in person. We will have an exhaustive live seminar in Paris itself. We will all come there and then celebrate it. Thank you so much. Namaskara. Namaskara.
Definitely. This is a year where we are celebrating 75 years of Indian independence, and next year we will be celebrating 75 years of India and France friendship, wherein we will have a lot of opportunity to bring in the best of French and the Indian culture, where we are definitely going to have many projects to celebrate this friendship that we have strategical partnership, business, and educational, cultural, in any partnership. France and India have always shared a wonderful friendship, and we love to continue that friendship going forward. Manjunath Anna, as you really mentioned, Rasa definitely gave a beautiful insight. When you said, as a dancer, I could maybe imagine Narasimha Avatara tearing up the intestine of Hiranyakashipu. Maybe if I am imagining something and visualize listening to a Varali, definitely it gives me that experience of Bibhatsa, but just listening to the beauty of Varali probably just takes me to a transcendental mode. So that was just one of the examples I could imagine as a dancer, or maybe creating that scene in my head. Thank you so much for taking us for that wonderful experience for Rasa through music. Next, we will be continuing with Chudamani Nandagopal ma'am. Ma'am, it's a wonderful privilege, honor, and thank you so much. Can't thank you enough for taking India to the globe. Indian sculpture, Indian rich heritage through temple architecture, and whatever your achievements are. When I read her biodata, I thought, okay, this in itself would take a 1 hour seminar. So I would briefly introduce Dr. Professor Chudamani Nandagopal ma'am. Ma'am, with your permission and your blessings. Dr. Chudamani's highest achievement is working for the UNESCO nomination dossier on Ramappa Temple and a scholarly volume on Ramappa Temple covering tangible and intangible cultural heritage played a key role in recommendation for the inscription of Ramappa Temple as UNESCO World Heritage Site. Dr. Chudamani Nandagopal, an art historian of international repute, is awarded 5 international and 2 national excuse me, national research fellowships, including the first scholar to receive the UK Visiting Nehru Fellow at Victoria and Amp. Albert Museum London, UNESCO Fellow for Art History, UNSW Senior Fellow Sydney, and Exeter Research Fellow UK. She is awarded as Tagore National Senior Fellow at National Museum Delhi for 2019-21, as a prestigious one from the Government of India. Just completed the tenure of fellowship. She's a prolific writer with 20 international publications and 100 published papers to her credit. In addition, she worked on research project with India Sri Lankan Foundation on Amaravati and Anuradhapura cultural interface, a bilateral collaborative project strengthening the cultural ties between India and Sri Lanka. She led a team of researchers on the project research and documentation of Jaina art and culture in Karnataka for a mega national project on Museum of Jain Philosophy and Values undertaken by the Firodia Trust, Pune. Chudamani Nandagopal, a distinguished scholar and professor in Indian art history and culture. She has guided 20 PhD scholars and 20 MPhil candidates. She is the founder of Art History Department of Fine Arts College, Chitrakala Parishad. She was the first academic head at IGNCA Bangalore, set up the Department of Cultural Studies at Manipal University. Later served as the Dean, School of Humanities and AMP, Social Sciences, Jain University, Bangalore. Her major contribution has been to research, revive, restore the cultural heritage of India. She was the Joint Secretary and now the Vice President of Indian Art History Congress. Her awards include Chanakya Award, Communicator Indian Culture, Attendance, Rukmini Arundel Award for her contributions to Indian art history, Karnataka Kalashri Award from the Government of Karnataka for her contributions to the field of dance, and many more. This was just a very brief introduction of Nandagopal Chudamani ma'am. It's definitely a blessing to have you here and listen to you about rasa through sculpture. You being a dancer, this just shows the greatness of our Indian roots, that a person cannot be limited by her power or prowess. So there is so much to learn from you, ma'am. I know the time is very short, but please, we request you to continue with rasa through sculpture. And a hearty welcome again.
Ma'am, you're on mute.
I'm audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Bhavna. So nicely you have put through. I was, completely immersed in musical journey of Dr. Manjunath. I'm not in this world now. So it's so difficult for me to come back and then, get into. See, I always feel that music is the mother of all arts in the world. So the music is the one which is treated as the mother of all arts. So when the mother is there, we all become mute. So that is what they experience from Dr. Manjunath, such a great journey he has taken us. I'm so thankful to you, so thankful to you. See, when I was performing Navarasas in dance, people used to, the audience used to feel, how can you change so quickly the rasas? You go back and come with Shringara, get back, come with Karuna, then Adbhuta, so on. So they used to ask me, many, foreigners or even our own people, how do you get this? So I used to tell them, the musical notes leads us. You go back and the new raga starts for Karuna. So that music immerses you into Karuna. You come back and you come with Athana. That Athana rises, your, all your bhavas, and you come into this. So this is the power of the music. It takes us to all kinds of, and as he was, I really like the way Dr. Manjunath has put in, like, this is very difficult. And as he's rightly said, the Karuna Rasa, it dominates. When you sing, when you were singing, we all transcended without our, knowing, we were into Karuna Rasa. How can it be? And that is sometimes dominates so much. Even Greek tragedies. Aristotle, he has done, he has worked on a theory of catharsis. So when you reach that, climax of the Greek tragedy, you enter into catharsis, you purge in all your emotions, you are washed off. He was telling that, that is what, it was working in my mind. After Shokarasa, you are washed off. All your emotions, pent up, everything. He said, audience will weep, will cry. What happens after that? That is the rasa. You are washed off. You are afresh. And you have enjoyed that moment. That is the catharsis. And Indian aesthetic theories, one after the other rasas. It's not the moods that we stop there. We get into that responsive state of rasa. Because we need the audience. When we are creating as performing artist, whether dance, music, or theater, what you are doing there? You are directly involved with the audience. And that responsive state of, things happen between actor, art, and audience. 3A. So when this, churning is happening, you understand that, that is what is art. If you are able to get that kind of, rasa, even at the last spectator, as a musician or as an instrumentalist or as a dancer, if you can create that, you are the most successful artist. You are not a performer, you become an artist at that stage. Because that is the power of rasa. Of course, Sahitya has its own place, very important. And Indian, this one, Sahitya started with poetry. And all our Vedic chants are poetic. They are not prose, they are poetic. So we begin with poetry, we begin with music, Samaveda. So much of rasa in everyday life. When we enact, it becomes rasa. So this is what, I was, tranced when he was giving such beautiful demonstration. And also, he was also posing certain, I can understand his mind and thinking and the thought process, why we could not get in Varali either Raudra or the Hasya. Why we could not? So that's a very big question. As he said, we have to go to hours and hours of healthy discussion, very healthy discussion. Questioning the people who recommended this raga for this rasa, whether it works. So this is what, very interesting, Manjunath, I am very thankful to you for this kind of experience. Friends, I am in the midst of the galaxy of all scholars and great musicians like Ghatam Karthik and Madam Vasundhara Filiosa, who is senior to me in many ways. And Professor Filiosa, I always feel as a divine figure in the field of Indian culture and Samskrta. I'm also very happy to be part of Sanskrit Day, Samskrit Divas. Otherwise, I was part of Dance World, Dance Day, so many things. But to be in Samskrit Divas is great for me. So I'm thankful to both, Pradyumna and Bhavana for inviting me for this really, really, thought-provoking, webinar. Friends.
Equally.
Yeah. Am I audible? Can we go to, hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Can
Can we go to the...
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Should I click on share screen for PPT?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So now go to desktop. Share. Sharing? No?
Not yet, ma'am.
Not yet.
You need to click on share screen. That will
Yeah,
provide you options.
It's asking desktop.
Yeah, you can say screen.
Screen is not there.
It has to work because the settings are ready for panelists to share the screen.
It's only showing desktop.
You can click that, ma'am.
I did that. It's asking open system preferences.
Oh, so it's your setting that you have to change from the desktop.
How to do that?
You just have open system. Just click on open system settings and.
I did that.
And it says give access to Zoom.
Zoom US?
Yes, you have to click on that and then select. So it would unlock.
It's not opening. It's not opening.
You have to give access from your laptop to share it through Zoom.
Yeah, that I did it, but it's not opening.
Maybe just refresh once.
Is it? Now, has it opened?
Not yet, ma'am.
Is it okay for you to share the PPT with us, ma'am, so that I can?
Yeah, I have no problem. Can I send it?
Yes.
Always happens. 3 times.
So, meanwhile, if with your permission, ma'am, if it's fine, since we haven't started, just to save the time, we have the recorded music of Ghatam Karthik sir, who has sent us the recorded version because we did not want the glitch towards the video. So I would like to share the video before by the time. Meanwhile, we get your PPT and we start.
And maybe we request Ghatam Karthik sir to.
Yes.
Say a few words before we play the video. And ma'am, if you can send across the PowerPoint by that time, we will have it ready so that as soon as we finish Ghatam Karthik sir's video, we will share your PowerPoint and then we can continue with this.
Sure.
Your permission.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
you. Yeah. Karthik Anna.
Namaskaram. Yeah, namaskar. Yeah, namaskaram. And
I will, with your permission, I will introduce you, Anna. I will just tell,
yes.
As I mentioned, for everybody, I have to share this. Every legendary artist here present here I have to probably take one complete session to introduce them, but I definitely am we feel so blessed through Carnatic Conservatory of Paris that you all are blessing us during this occasion of Samskrita Divasa. Dr. Gautam Karthik is a shining star Gautam artist, has performed with almost all top-ranked classical artists all over the world. Karthik is a proud torchbearer of the legacy of his gurus, Gautam Maestro Sri T.H. Vikku Vinayak Ram and Sri T.H. Subhash Chandran. Karthik has extensively performed with Indian film music industry and collaborated with many international artists. Karthik has a PhD in Sanskrit under the guidance of Dr. S. Ramaratnam and a master's in music. Karthik leads the Heartbeat Ensemble and is a prolific composer of many tilanas, kritis, varnams, and fusion pieces. Karthik is always known for his intelligent innovations and creative ventures, and Swaraksharam is his genre. Yeah, all these facets have earned him a very special, endearing status in the hearts, minds, and thoughts of many musical enthusiasts, admirers, and scholars all over the world. With your permission, I will also include students. Your students are definitely a big fan of you, including me. Gautam Karthik's Heartbeat Ensemble is a perfect blend of melody and rhythm, presents the traditional classical art form in the highest level of improvisation with all its splendor and diversity. Heartbeat is a contemporary and traditional by the blend, and the effect is magical. Heartbeat Ensemble features the original compositions and rhythmic pieces of Gautam Karthik, which have been highly commended and endorsed by learned scholars and legendary maestros. The Heartbeat Ensemble has given many performances all over India and also toured to USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Bahrain, and Sri Lanka. He is awarded with innumerable awards, and we are blessed to receive him as part of Samskrta Samaaropaha. So, Anna, after you, few words from you, blessings, and we will play the video recorded.
Yeah. In fact, I like Chudamani ma'am was saying about Manju Garu's enlightening speech about rasa through melody. Yetro vacho nivartante அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவா. They will vacho anuganta. The words follow the sound, like that. We always say arthanudhavante appadi solluva. So since it is a Sanskrit Samaaropaha, taking cue from Rohit ji, I will say namasadase, namasadasrade, namasarvebhyo, अस्माकं सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, संस्कृतिर्भवतु, संस्कृतभाषा भवतु, मंगलम भवतु, कोरोना. Because it is a great, like Rohit ji was saying and Manju ji was saying, our Samskritam and Sangeetam is part and parcel of our Samskriti, our culture, and like how like they say Vagarta Samprukto, Vagarta Pradipati Jagatah Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameshwaro. The word and its cannot be separated. It's not there. Without the meaning, the word is not there. So even the Kalidasa said Vagarta Viva Samprukto. And the people, Vasundhara ma'am was talking about Ardhanarishwara. In fact, I was reminded of, I will just rewind myself to the Subhashita section. I will just share two Subhashitas which depicts Hasya Rasa. Okay. And they said there is a beautiful, what we call as Chatu Sloka. Chatu Sloka is something like a satirical, like a hilarious satirical sloka. It's about any doctors, yes, doctors, like medical doctors, please pardon me. Okay. This is a beautiful satire on doctors. Okay. Like Vaidyaraja Namastubhyam, Yamaraja Sahodara, Yamaha Pranan Harati, Bhavan Pranan Dhananicha. That's the beautiful sloka. Like Vaidyaraja Namas, oh king of doctors, salutations to you. Who are you? Yamaraja, you are the brother of Yama, Lord of Death. And he says, Yamaha Pranan Harati. Yama only takes the lives. But Bhavan, but you, Pranan, Dhananiche, you take the life as well, also take the fees also. Like that, it's a very beautiful Hasya Pradana Subhashitam. And there's also a life lessons in Subhashitas. They say one more sloka I was reminded when Vasundhara ji was talking. Durjanena sakvesham dvapi na karayet, which is like with wicked people you don't create animosity or don't have friendship with them. So they give a beautiful analogy. Ushno dahati ankaraha shita krishnayate karam. So the charcoal, when it is hot, it burns your fingers. Okay, if you allow it to cool down and if you then touch it, it will blacken your hand. So both ways it's problems. It's like in Tamil we say we don't be too close to a policeman. Like it's like you should not be friendly, you should not be against him. So it's better to stay in a beautiful way so that the charcoal gives you the warmth. It saves you from the cold weather, but keeps you warm. So it was like like this Sringara Rasa Pradana, Hasya Rasa Pradana, Veera Rasa Pradana slokas are there in Samskritam, which is like Manju Garu was saying, to leave alone music, leave alone Sahitya, leave alone anything, just to enjoy life every moment, you need Samskrita for your life before to be to be enjoying life. Samskritam, in fact, even if we speak Tamil or Kannada or Malayalam or any South Indian language, we don't realize it that we are using Samskritam, but we are using the Samskritam. And if I'm talking something about Aniruddha, அந்த பையன் எப்படி படு சுட்டி. If I say Padu Sutti, Patu means clever. It's a Sanskrit word. It's a Sanskritam. Padu Samat. So we say, if you say super smart, we use the word Patu Samat. But just not Samat. Patu Samat. So, Padu Sutti. It is not the Tamil Padu, which is to lie down. This is Patu. No, and ademari, when you say, we say Saukyama. So when you say Saukyam, that is a Sanskritam word.
Yes.
And when you say, we don't say Nalama, we don't say Nalamaha irkirigala every time. We don't say that. We just say, Saukyama, Nalla irkingla. Okay. So Sanskritam is part and parcel of everybody's life. Especially if you're a musician, even the glossary of terms like that we use, Karvai or Dirgam, Raswam, Pallavi or Purvangam, Uttarangam, all these words are Sanskritam. Like when you say, like my professor used to say, Layam is a big word like Dharma. You cannot translate it, Dharma is equal to righteousness. No, it is beyond that. Dharma as a wife is different. Dharma as a student is different. Dharma as a teacher is different. So the word Dharma is like, and giving 10 rupees is that is also Dharma. That Dharma is different. I'm sure Rohit ji will accept my argument. You can give me a thumbs up. Yeah. No, because you're all muted, I'm not able to have the reaction, because as an artist, we need that response, and we are missing it for 1.5 years now. Okay. No. So what I have tried to convey it in the recorded video is, and to substantiate what Manju Garu was saying. So I created a song in Tamil about Navarasa and Nadaigal. So somebody said, if for sleeping it's Neelambari, for Raudra it is Atana, for Karunya it is Sahana, for Bhakti it is Saveri, for Shringara, like you said, Kamas or Behag or whatever. So okay, then I myself, like Manju Garu was asking a question to us. I myself asked a question to me. Okay, what? Okay, if okay, Shogatukku Subhamadurali, Thookatukku Neelamari, Thoongi Ezhunthukkiradhukku Bhoopalam. Okay, Veerathukku Atana. Bhakti, all these things are there, Manju Garu. Like we use all these ragas to depict the sentiments. Then I asked myself a question. Okay, what about the percussionists? They don't have any rasa. They just play every time. No, the way we play for Vandanamu Raghunandana, the way we play for Vandanamu Raghunandana is totally different from the way we play for Chede Bhukti Buddhira Manasura or Brova Bharama or Samajavaragamana or everything is Aditala. So, like, everything is Aditala. The way of approach to Laya and how to set the grooves or the patterns, progressions, because it is very easy, as it is very difficult to say without the Sahitya, a Raga Bhava to emote a particular rasa, it's even more difficult to do it with just percussion. Because if I can put it in a very crude way, people ஒரு காருண்யமோ ஒரு பக்தியோ ஃபீல் வரும். இப்போ தாங்கிட்ட தக்கதின்ன தாங்கிட்ட தக்கதின்ன தாங்கிட்ட தக்கதின்ன தாங்கிட்ட தக்கதின்ன what feel you have? Do you have no feel? There is always a joke. Manju Garu will enjoy this. Somebody said in Tamil, வாசிக்கும் போதே ஃபீலோட வாசிங்கப்பா, வாசிச்சுட்டு ஃபீல் பண்ணாதீங்க. வாசிச்சப்புறம் ஐயோ அந்த இடத்துல நான் இன்னும் நல்லா பாடி இவங்க ஸ்ருதி சேரல அப்படின்னு இருக்கிறத விட, so the content I want to say is it's even more a tough task to depict or emote rasa through percussion. That's why because it's like if Bhavana is a dancer, if I ask her to say show me Rama, she will show like this. Show me Krishna, she will show like this. Okay, and if you say Sringara, she will show something like that. If it is Raudra, she will stare at me. Okay, like that with big eyes and all. But if I say Advaita, what will you depict? If I ask a dancer to depict Advaita, you can't depict it because it's a abstract thought process. It's a concept. So like that, laya or rhythm is a concept. So you have to envisage it and visualize it in a holistic way and appropriately play patterns. When you should not play, in short, you should not play a farans or a faster phases for a Shantamuleka Saukya Melodu piece. When you're playing Vandanamu Raghunandana, you should not play for Aditala, you should play for Sahana. When you are playing for Amba Kamakshi of Swarajati of Shama Sastri, you should not play for Misra Chapu, you should play for Bhairavi. You should internalize that bhava and the total with Sahityam and the Raga Bhava, everything, and also the gait, the gati of this. Like each and every song has a, like if you say the total feel is gone. Only if you sing in this Kala Pramana, that Bhairavi or that Amba Kamakshi will come. If you sing Shantamuleka Saukyamu, apart from the Sahityam and the Sama Raga, even the Kala Pramanam, even the Layam is going to depict the rasa and also to associate itself with the rasa. So that's what this is actually, I think I've made more points in now than in the recorded video, because in the recorded video I've stuck to only a very layman's perspective. Because if I go very technically Sanskrit words and not, I wanted the subject to reach it to more people. I told Bhavna already. So it will be a very simple thought process. I hope you will enjoy it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. I will be sharing the screen now.
Thank you, Anna. Already so enriching it was. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Namaskaram. This is Gatam Karthik here. I'm very happy to be participating in this Samskrta Samaaropaha, and I'm thankful for the invitation from Carnatic Conservatory of Paris, and I'd like to thank Srimati Vidushi, Bhavna Pratimna, and the entire team for making this possible. And I also pass on my regards to all the other scholars who are participating in this. And I've been asked to talk about rasa in laya, rasa in percussion. And I'm so happy to be sharing few of my thoughts. Musical instruments, the musical traditions of India, are our culture's enduring legacies. Our Indian music is one of the most ancient in the world, which is essentially melodic and retained that character till today. The musical traditions tell us the stories of the cultural synthesis which distinguishes our civilization, and Indian music has the unique power to depict not only physical and not only cerebral, but also the spiritual response to the sound, nada. When I said nada, laya, shabda, everything is interconnected. The concept of sound and expression and even math involves the various laya or gatis. When I'm talking about rasa in percussion, rasa is nothing but expression or emotion. How it can be depicted in percussion? Percussion is a very abstract thing. When you play a very melodious raga or a very sad raga, immediately you feel that rasa, that shoka rasa or adbhuta rasa or ananda rasa or veera rasa. When you sing atana, when you sing sahana, you automatically feel the karunya rasa. So immediately you can feel, okay, it's something connected with pathos or sad feeling or shoka rasa. Immediately you say, okay, a lot of vigor or bravery or veera rasa. So, but in percussion, it's very difficult to depict a rasa because it's an abstract sound. So just to quote an example from Rig Veda, Siksha Patalam, Vilambitam, Madhyamam, Dhrutam cha. So everybody knows, students of music will know 3 layas: Madhya laya, Dhruta laya, Vilambit laya, which is slow, medium, moderate or fast. When you want to depict a very Veera Rasa, you can play in a very speedy manner, like, or even use the Kanda Gati. So immediately that vigor or the bravery, something like a gallop of horse, if you see now I've reduced the speed by half, but even though the expression is retained, like, and using the dynamics, soft, medium and hard sounds, you can express the needed emotion and expression and the rasa needed for that particular moment of music. If I include not only the playing the instrument, ghatam or mridangam or tawil or any other instrument, any other percussion instrument, the basis for all percussion instruments is konakol, the verbal percussion. I would like to quote one more example from Taittiriya Pratishakya, which says, Tasya bhati shrutakani bhavanti uraha kantaha shiraha mukham nasika iti samvrite kante nadaha kriyate vivrite swasaha. In my interpretation of this verse from Taittiriya Pratishakya, I equate it to the dynamics of producing and reciting the syllables in Konakol to also, and when I say Vivrite Swasaha, the carving or the long gaps that I can leave to emote certain expression or certain rasa. If I say dim dim da taka dim dim da taka dim keda taka tari keda taka daga dina daga jalang dum taka dim dim da dum da dum da ta dim da dum dum da. This can be a very sedate shanta rasa or maybe karunya rasa. If I say dum takita taka takita taka takita taka takita taka takita taka tak kada taka dari dum kada taka dari dum dum takita taka takita taka takita takita dum takita taka takita ta dum takita. This can mean anger or veera rasa, raudra rasa or veera rasa. If I just increase the kandakati speed, it can more mean the raudra. Taka takita taka takita taka takita taka takita taka takita taka takita takita taka takita. Tatang taka takita taka takita taka takita taka tang taka takita taka takita taka takita. Tum takita taka takita taka takita taka takita. And so on. And when I say bhakti, even though it doesn't come under the navarasas, that's also a feeling. If I say this can give you a very devotional feel of a Nama Sankirtanam or a bhajan, which is the groovy feel. That's a beautiful rasa that can be depicted in percussion. You can imagine the same nadai or gati in a khol with the cymbals together. And A Nama Sankirtanam or a bhajan can be imagined. So this can be a expression in a bhakti bhava. And if you want to have a very funky feel or maybe a comic feel, this can be like a dance, or if I can say even a kuttu song, or some comic element, hasya rasa. And if I say this just not in laya, but only sounds and dynamics can depict bhaya rasa, or like somebody is seeing some wonder. Imagine in a dance performance, somebody is showing the Vishwarupa. There, the percussionist will play. And when the dancer is depicting that Vishwarupa of wonder, Vismaya rasa, Adbhuta rasa, can also be depicted in percussion. And when I say about this laya, gati, and when I said about the swasa and the nasika and the kanta and the, like if I say the cerebral sounds like ta, it's a very harsh sound. When I say I'm using the bass sound and the very sharp sound as well as the nasal sound. So when I leave the three carways, I'm taking a swasa, which is depicted in beautifully in the Rig Veda, like tha, di, ki, na, kum, ta, di, ki, na. So when it goes in tandem with the tala, the karvays and the kala pramanams and the groupings of laya can also depict a rasa, what in terms of the need of the occasion or the musical moment. Rasa in percussion or rasa through laya is a big subject, very abstract, very vast, and very deep. In a very layman understanding, if a person is very tired and he listens to a peppy song, be it film song or Latin music or Brazilian music or any West music or whatever, or some Nama Sankirtanam, he feels energized because he may not even understand the nuances or language or raga, what it is, but he feels connected to the rhythm. Same way, I've even seen special children, physically challenged children, sometimes even mentally challenged children, react and respond to the percussion happening in concerts. That brings out the inner urge and their energy when they listen to that sounds, and their brain gets activated and they begin to have better movement. So even as a therapy, percussion is a great thing. And when it connects to the emotion and expressions, great artists have done great work, and because of that, they remain not just mere percussionists, but great musical minds, and they are one of the most aesthetic musicians. I'm very sure that with a lot of insight and understanding, laya or rasa can be internalized, experienced, enjoyed forever. Namaskaram.
Bravo, 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 bravo. Karthik, Om.
It was wonderful. Om, thank you so much, Karthikana, for this beautiful insight. I think everybody enjoyed here, definitely. Thank you so much, and definitely the time is like we are not even looking at the time, like watching the clock or music. Rasa is like emotions that we are feeling, like we are experiencing through the different art forms here. I think that definitely it's I have a blessed day today, definitely. So thank you.
We are
Anna.
truly
I
blessed.
should
Thank you, Anna.
thank I should thank all of you for fairly listening through the small talk, and in fact, it's my honor to have Dr. Chudamani, Dr. Junath, you, Pradyumna, and Rohit ji, and everybody giving their ears, and I was just I was feeling so blessed to have all of you listen to me. Thank you.
It was wonderful.
Uh,
So going
blessing.
Actually,
It's an honor.
as I said, it's a.
sorry.
As I said, it's a very, very like Bhavna has given me very tough Pallavi to play, but I managed.
No. Thank you,
Thank
Anna.
you,
You're blessing
thank you.
me. Thank you very much. Chudamani ma'am, with your blessings, we will be starting this. I will share the screen.
We are able to see. Yeah.
Okay.
Ma'am, you need to unmute yourself. Sorry. Chudamani ma'am.
Yes. Fine. Good. Fine. So again, we were in a different world. I'm bringing you back to the tangible form. We were in intangible, world with both Dr. Manjunath and Dr. Karthik presentation.
Saman?
Yes.
Saman.
So I'm coming now back to the tangible form of understanding rasa through sculptures. So I just take you to a journey like nature, what we call it as prakriti. It can be raindrops, waves, or breeze, flow of river, waterfall. They are all like, the laws of nature. They are not arts, but they can inspire poets and artists to create their art. It is a kriya, a process of creation. When it is fell on the process of creation, the performance takes place. In performance, in the form of eternal action and reaction. At different levels of experience, like harmony, balance, and rhythm, are inherent in the artistic creation, be it dance, music, painting, or sculpture, or even poetry. So these are all the elements of Indian aesthetics or the world aesthetics to enjoy the various forms of art. So Indian aesthetic principles are common to all arts, whatever form it is, but the undercurrent of that will be the rasa theory. So Indian art and aesthetics, they have two parts. One is art theories and the other is aesthetic theories. They are two different. Many times, people take art theories and put into aesthetic, and aesthetic theories into art theories, but they are two different, directions or dynamics of Indian aesthetics. So they emerge from the practical aspects, because all arts are practically has to be performed or created, only mastered through understanding of the texts. What is very, very specific to Indian art is they are all text based. Unless you identify one text of that particular period or time and then apply it, whatever form of art that you are practicing, then only you understand the aesthetics of that particular format. So this is a continuous experimentation, and there is an application. As performing artists, all of us know they have to perform and perform. The aesthetic theories can be theoretical, and they are also experimental. That is what, it doesn't stop at the theoretical. It is always, every artist will be doing experiment to test or to correlate the understanding of the textual material. Only through arts, whether it is performing arts, visual arts, literary arts, or decorative arts, this kind of experimental dynamics takes place. So the concept of beauty takes ultimate position in Indian aesthetics, philosophy of Satya and Saundarya. So if you open that discussion, particularly in Sanskrit Divas like today, and we have the Sanskrit scholars, and they can go hours to explain Satya and Saundarya. So it is perceived through natural and man-made creations. Let us see how it is pursued in natural and man-made creation. Here you see this, whether it is man-made or natural, it gives that aesthetic experience if you have that aesthetic eye. So the natural you can see here, and the other one is created by an artist. It is artistic, and he has created certain things around that particular flower, like a butterfly is coming, a border is created, a background is given. So it makes more beautiful. Nature inspires him to create such beautiful art. Next, please. Now, looking at Kailas Parvata is very natural. Next. What happens to that is what you are experiencing now. That natural Kailas is, transformed into man-made Kailasa temple in Ellora. See how the architects visualized Kailasa, and they have created Kailasa here. Next, please. Next, please. Now here you see I used so many harmony, rhythm, and those things you can also see in the sculptures. As you see in the Ghatam, the kind of rhythmic, patterns we hear, we experienced. Similarly, you see the rhythmic patterns in this particular, facade of a temple, where you see the yalis and the scrolls, the designs, while creating. Definitely, the sculptor was following a particular rhythm to get that kind of, a crisp and very, aesthetic, delightful experience of carving. Next, please. Now, the principles of aesthetics, as we all know, that the concept of human emotions and feelings is known as bhava, and it leads to rasa. So the basic element is bhava, and when it culminates into responsive state between 3A I mentioned earlier, then it becomes the rasa. So these emotions are natural instincts in all our life. Every day, from morning till evening, We express so many kinds of naturally emotions. Do we call all of them as art? Emotions can be expressed in arts by expressing. So that quotient of expressing is so important, and it has to come through art. So the concept of quality or traits is fundamental to all arts. That is tamasa, rajasa, and sattvika. These are the gunas, and they are natural in life. Every one of us have, sometimes in a day, we express tamasa, rajasa, and sattvika. All gunas will come through, but it will be enacted in art. I'm using very specifically the word enacted in art. So there are real and non-real, the themes, emotions, and expression. They are real in life, but they are non-real in art because they will be enacting. And the actor or the performer knows that he is not the real Rama, but he will be enacting as Rama, the character. So performing is so important in the concept of abhinaya. So abhinaya is the enacting of all the rasas and bhavas and all the sanchari, vabhichari bhavas, and enter into a process, because this cannot just come out. It has to pass through a process, and when that process is completed, you are washed off in that particular rasa or the emotions. So language and literature also has got this kind of expression, and that is the creative ability of starting from Kalidasa to all kinds of poets of even today. Next, please. Next, yeah. Now we come to Natya Shastra, because that is the quintessential theory for the world to know what is aesthetics, the psychological states and the mindset. All these aspects are so pramana purvaka. It has been created in Natya Shastra. So all of us know that it has been drawn from all the 4 Vedas. That is why it is known as the Panchama Veda. It is called as Panchama Veda. It has the source from Vedic knowledge. So Natya Shastra is a text of aesthetics, text on creative thought. See, everything he gives few examples and asks the artist to create more than that, if you are capable. So artist has to raise to that level of creation. So it is a compendium of art theories and also aesthetic theories. When it comes to aesthetic theories, it is a experimental form. So next, please. Next. So in Natya Shastra, you all know that the chapter 6 and 7, it talks about the rasa theory, the Indian aesthetic thought through centuries. So it begins with rasa, which is basic and primary pursuit for all art forms, and it ends with rasa as the ultimate, and ultimate is the rasa. Even Anandavardhana, he comes with the rasa dhvani. So dhvani and rasa, they are the soul of any kind of artistic expression. So rasa is the aesthetic delight, emerged through emotions and feelings. As we understand the knowledge drawn from Natya Shastra, it is bhava, vibhava, anubhava, sanchari bhava or vabhichari bhava. When they all move in process, please try to understand it. They all have to move in process. It happens naturally for an artist. When he stands with the kind of expression, it naturally fall into that process. It is natural, finally reaches to responsive state, that is rasa, sharing between 3A, as I had mentioned, actor or an artist, art, and audience. So through this, the entire narrative is created. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah. Now these are the navarasas. I just to brush yourself to think about it. Next, please. So they are all like 9 petals of one flower. The flower is there as an art, and the expression is all these 9 petals. Now, this particular sculpture, we start with the sculpture and the rasa, how it happens. See, in performing arts, we have the direct relationship with the responsive, that is the audience. As Dr. Karthik was also mentioning that we don't have audience, we are speaking to screen. So do we get that kind of responsive, can we create that kind of rasa? If you have the live performance, definitely you are a different person. So what happens in performing arts is direct responsive state we reach between artist and the art and the audience. But in sculpture or in painting, that is the visual arts, you cannot sit and watch or try to get all the emotions of the artist or the sculptor who is sculpting for 6 months one piece. You can't be part of his creative process. Once he completes, then you get into that kind of experience. If you have those aesthetic, sensibilities, you definitely get into the trance of that particular sculpture. So this is one Nataraja sculpture which is placed in the, you can go back to that, yeah. So CERN lab in Geneva, with this sculpture was sent by Indian government. So, there are many things, I don't want to, we'll go to next place. So now I just want to give you a brief, this one, I may not go to all rasas or anything like that, give you a kind of understanding or a glimpses of the Ramappa sculptures, Ramappa temple sculptures, which has become the UNESCO World Heritage Site. After 34 years, South India got one heritage site. In South India, we have 4 heritage sites so far, 2 in Karnataka and 2 in Tamil Nadu. We don't have any other site, any UNESCO heritage site in Andhra Pradesh or Telangana or Kerala. So now, after 34 years, we got this status, that is Ramappa temple. Next, please. So the Ramappa temple is a sacred place created, or a space, I would use the word instead of place, it is a space. It's an abstract thinking. When you think of place, it is very tangible. When you think of space, it is intangible. So it's a sacred space created by Racharla Rudra. He is the patron and founder of this Ramappa temple. While creating, he thought of 4 components. One is architecture, sculpture, rituals. This is very important, and dance. So all this architecture, sculpture, dance, they converge here with ritual significance. So ritual plays a very important role. There you see the Navarasa Bhakti. You get involved into all those Navarasa Bhakti. Next, please. So the unique features of Rudreshwara temple, you can see the Rudreshwara temple here, a kind of architecture, and it is evolved from Kalyan Chalukyan architecture, and it was built in 1213 CE, that is the Common Era. Next, please. It is the only surviving complete temple of Kakatiya period. Next, please. So these sculptures are of expressive quality, very high expressive quality. And the themes from Shiva Purana, Bhagavata, they have been taken. And Ashtadikpala presentation is very interesting here. In most of the temple ceilings, you find the Ashtadikpalas either standing or seated, or seated on a particular vehicle belong to them and moving, except that we don't find much of the variations. But in Ramappa temple, you find dancing Ashtadikpalas. All 8 directions, the Dikpalas are beautifully presented with dancing mode. So the human features represent local, ethnic people than classical ideal types. You don't find there the Devanganas. We have the 12 bracket figures, and those bracket figures are elongated. And I was wondering whether such figures or such human beings exist. They exist. I met a lady who came to see Ramappa on that day, was having the same skin tone, features, which were very close to the bracket figures. So that shows that they have not gone in search of the model for ideal type of models, but they have chosen from the ethnic, their locality. That is why they stand very different from all the other types of temples. Next, please. So you can closely see in this picture all the bracket figures on the exterior of the temple. Next, please. These are some of the bracket figures. One close-up you can see. And these are the next place. These are the Gajakesari figures. They are also bracket figures, which is actually helping the cantilever position of that particular architectural space has been filled to fabricate that area. These Gajakesari sculptures are used. They are 32 in number. Next, please. You can see the, go back, please. You can see that kind of, Veera. They are all Veera Kesaris. That Veera concept or the rasa, it is, beautifully depicted in these 32, Gajakesari sculptures. Next, please. Yeah. They are all the bracket figures. They are totally 12 bracket figures, 6 feet of height. In most of the bracket figures we see in all temples, it will be around 3 feet or 4 feet. And they look little stocky. But here you see they are all beautifully elongated figures. And you can see that kind of Shringara, a real Shringara Bhava you can feel when you look at these sculptures. Next, please. Next, please. Yes, I have written a chapter in the book on dance imagery of Ramappa temple. So these bracket figures we have cross-checked with a text written by Jayappa Senani known as Nritta Ratnavali. So whether this Nritta Ratnavali has anything to do with these sculptures. And to our surprise, that they correlate all the information or the shlokas or the verses that are given by Jayappa Senani in Nritta Ratnavali. Next, please. That is the independent text in dance. Otherwise, dance has been treated as the last chapter in Sangita Ratnakara, in Manasollasa, in many of the texts. It is one of the chapters. But first time you find an independent text of 8 chapters, 4 of Natya Shastra tradition, Margi, and 4 of Deshi tradition. The Deshi traditions existed in those days, in 12th century. They have been discussed in that particular text. So that is very important to South India to understand the dance imagery or dance technique of our area. And this is the beautiful archetype where you have the Ramalingeshwara, or he is known as Rudreshwara. In the inscription, it is mentioned as Rudreshwara. So Rudreshwara and the Peya figures who are carrying some of the, with that kind of devotion, Bhakti Bhava, you can see that rasa when you look at those sculptures on the base. they are carrying various, offerings to the temple. So you can see one of the drawings also here. Next, please. Yes. And what is interesting is there are 4 beams having on 3 faces. So I totally get 12, panels as part of beams. And each panel has a Navarasa Bharita, the stories, the legend, beautifully. Girija Kalyana goes around 4 panels. And the way, how the gods and goddesses go into the Girija Kalyana, they become the, parents of Girija and also the Shankara. And same thing is conducted, Girija Kalyana, under that same panel on Mahashivratri. So I documented this. This has impressed the UNESCO, the people who were part of that discussion to give for this kind of, the recognition. They felt that this is the way, a temple, living temple should be approached, not just seeing it as beams and this and what is there, how it is intangible even today, those values. So this is what, you see in these sculptures. Next, please. This is the ceiling. You can see the ceiling. Such beautiful carving with the hard stone like dolerite. Dolerite is the hardest stone in the world. And the Ramappa sculptors have sculpted so perfectly in the dolerite. They are black and they look like bronze. And this is the central ceiling. You can see the dancers around and Shiva dancing in the center. So it looks like a lotus, a formation of lotus and hanging down from the top. Next, please. So you can see the other view of the beams and the Shiva dancing, you can see closer. So dance sculptures are there from 6 feet to 6 inches. So approximately there are 300 dance sculptures we have identified and documented them. And they also show the Margi and Deshi Karanas and the traditions, dance traditions existed in those days. And they were practicing dance tradition of the times. So we find that Manasollasa, Sangeeta Ratnakara and Nritya Ratnavali texts, we can correlate all the dance part of it to this, and also musical instruments. Very interesting musical instruments I have documented from this Ramappa temple. I think musicians have to take that and see whether they can revive those musical instruments for the present times. Next, please. Yeah, this is the place known as the central, I call it as mesmerizing place. So there is a central, platform for dance rituals, and this is known as Ranga Bhumika. And I think this is the largest in any of Indian temples. We don't have such largest Ranga Bhumika. We find in Belur, Halebid, all places, but they are small. But this has got that kind of, huge Ranga Bhumika. And this is the Gaundali Nritya, one of the Deshi traditions. Next, please. And this is one of the Pindibandha movement that is explained in Natya Shastra and Nritya Ratnavali. And that demonstration we have shown. Next, please. The Nandi Mantapa is one of the very interesting structure in Ramappa temple, and particularly the Nandi sculpture is exclusive. We don't find such, well carved, proportionate pramana, the aesthetic, pramana we find in this Nandi. So there are dance sculptures around, and that is there you see the demonstration. So this is, we call it as swastika, artha swastika, sthanas, that, one of my PhD students, she was doing that at that time on this Deshi Karanas. She has demonstrated reference to Nritya Ratnavali. This is Vishlishta. This is another on the Chari movement, Deshi Chari, which has been presented here. Next, please. And this is Paravritta Sthanaka. At the three entrances gateway the Ramappa temple has, and it's beyond life size figures on the entrance of the gateways, and they are the Dwara sculptures. I have called it as Dwara sculptures, and this is the Paravritta Sthanaka that has been presented. Just this last slide, I think. One of the earrings that I try to correlate and identify with these sculptures. You find in the Dwara sculptures, in the the bracket figures, and here the dancer wearing the same. So they are called as Rajakas, Trirajaka, Dvirajaka, Pancharajaka. So they are the ornament. It is only one I have shown you, but there is a chapter on ornamentation which talks about all the other ornaments. And when we look at the kind of the drawing, this is what found in almost all at the even on the facade of the temple, on the pillar, and on the roof, and on the ceilings. You find this kind of stylized lotus form. Next. So this is the acknowledgement. People who, as a team, we all worked, and this team is responsible for getting the status Ramappa, and my work has taken seriously. Thank you. I just want to show you, this is the book, Ramappa book, which is quite huge, and a beautiful book, which we sent to all the member states, member countries who were participating in the deliberation, and they came to know about Ramappa because of this book.
Wonderful, 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 ma'am. I think just jewelry can be a chapter, music can be a chapter, rasa can be a chapter. There is so much to read from the book, definitely. Please do let us know where we can purchase so that our audiences would get to know about this. And definitely, thank you so much. After 34 years, getting a recognition for one of our temples is definitely a huge, huge feat. And today we stand here to seek your pranams to you, and we are definitely blessed to host you, ma'am, and thank you for agreeing and with such a short notice. I remember just 4 days back when we were discussing with the embassy, I was like, I really did not know if we could pull this off, but with 4 days we got the theme music, we got Manjunath Anna, we got Dr. Karthik sir, we have you and respected Chodamani ma'am, and we had Messi Filiosa and Vasundhara ma'am agreeing to this. We still have Rasa for Kavya and Rasa for dance, but which I think we have already started more than 3 hours of time today, but we have another episode starting in another 5 minutes, Geet and Nritya, wherein it's a Bhagavad relation of Bhagavad Gita to
Just to from the bottom of our hearts, we thank every one of you who have joined. So koti namanas from our side. We are truly blessed, and the way this program is coming along, it's so enriching. Anyone watching this online later, this would be available on YouTube, so anyone watching later would learn so much by revisiting this video. And every chapter can be elaborated into many more hours, is what we feel.
Theme music by Karthik Anna has definitely inspired us and definitely has given us more energy.
Actually, that's what Bhavna and I were saying, that just listening to the theme music, we want to do so much more, right? So that's the kind of inspiration what we get from it. It's just amazing.
And
the way
thank you all the dignitaries who stayed all through the so many hours. I think this really represents what India is. We as children we remember sitting through a concert for 4 hours, 5 hours, and now the duration had reduced to 1 hour, 1.5 hours. But we are so happy that we could revive the tradition through this, and with your blessings and all your presence here and your support. Thank you so much again.
between
We
so
seek
many
your blessings.
audience who are
Yes,
still
and all the audiences have almost stayed all through the event. Thank you so much again. We will see you all again within a
Yeah,
short.
in fact, on behalf of all the
Thank
speakers, I would like to thank for you, Bhavna and Pradyumna ji, for
thank you. Thank you.
putting so much of efforts.
A huge
And not only effort, it's like I need to say this. Not only efforts, time, money, energy, like family time. You're sacrificing family time, and as I told you, I had a class, but I had to
Yeah,
since
thank
as a
you
mark of
for
respect
that.
to other,
Thank you so much.
as a mark of respect to the other scholars, I requested my student to come 2 or 3 hours late. So
thank you so
because
much.
so I had to stay online throughout the session. That's why it was worth staying, and
Thank
and
you.
Thank you
I
so
want to
much.
Thank you again, everyone.
I want to get the next earring like Ramappa
Ramappa
temple
Jewel.
earring. I want to get it.
Thank you.
So
Namaste.
we also
Dhanyawadaha.
want to thank Prasanna Keshava who helped us with
Manju garu, Sashtanga Namaskaram.
Namaste. Thank you,
My
everyone.
pleasure.
Namaste.
Thank you.
we take a break. We have another weekly event which is going to start in
Starting
2
in 2
minutes.
minutes. Yeah.
So we have to go and start Geet and
So
Nritya.
are
That is
you
also
scheduling? Bhavna, are you scheduling Gayatri Kandan?
Yes, we'll do it after.
so
We later.
Yeah.
Maybe you should
continue.
inform her. Maybe.
Yes, I will inform and invite her. And she's not feeling well and
She
felt
could not
very sorry
join
for
because
not
of
able
that.
to attend.
Oh,
So yeah.
but
Namaste.
maybe it'll happen in her presence. Maybe.
Yes, maybe definitely. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye.